A's left in '69, or they left in '67. He got the franchise in '69. A lot of marshaling of resources. But what he did when he gave it to the Community Foundation, it was not, I've said this before, it was not good for the on-field performance, was not good for the team, but it's why this franchise is still here in Kansas City. And then when David Glass called me in early 2019, that was in the spirit of Ewan Kaufman. So not only we buy the team and we're committed to doing this, in some ways we felt like we were selected for this mission to make sure that baseball is in Kansas City, that we stay a Major League Baseball team, town. And I believe that the public part of that is important. We want to be reasonable about it. We're not trying, this will be the largest investment from any sports team. In fact, if you look at the history of these two franchises, I think it was 100% public financing when it was established. I think for the renovations, I think the Royals put in $25 million. I think the Chiefs put in $75 million and took the overage. We're going to invest in excess of $1 billion, and we're going to take the overage. And so that, and we're going to deliver massive public benefit for that. And we think that's worthy of getting a public partner. And I want to make sure the next owner has a long-term lease whenever we transfer ownership of this team at some point in the future, which I hope is a long time from now.
Jim?
Hey, Mr. Sherman, what do you say to a fan or a taxpayer who understands, like, hey, I gotta reach in my pocket and I have to pay my hard-earned dollars? How can you, like, help them feel assertive and comfortable, like this is the right thing to do?
As it relates to the stadium?
As it relates to the stadium, yes.
Yeah, I think these franchises, as I've said a lot, they're really important to the fabric, to the culture of a market like this. I think, we're the second smallest market with an NFL franchise and an MLB franchise. I think only Cincinnati is smaller, and that's close. I think it's an important part of the community. We would expect to deliver, public benefit in excess of that investment if you look at it in the aggregate. And we have information out there. It's on our, what's the website of the stadium? KCBallparkDistrict.com. There's information there about the economic impact. We're creating a huge amount of jobs, billions of dollars of labor output in the project itself, and then ongoing. And we believe that the benefits to the community will far exceed the investment that the community makes in it. And if that makes sense. Also in Jackson County, I think one piece of feedback we have had in our conversation with Jackson County is to make sure that we're doing things for the citizens of Jackson County, right? That they have discounted pricing opportunities, they have other things, and we have that in place today, but I think it's misunderstood, actually.
Tom.
Mr. Sherman, I think there's some pretty good poison pills in the lease about leaving the county. Okay, so how much of a
before
deterrent
2030?
Before 2030. So if you leave before that, how much of a deterrent would that be for Clay County and a hurdle for them to overcome?
Well, I mean, any of that would have to be negotiated. I mean, all this is a negotiation, right? And we're going to live up to our obligations under the lease, right? And that's through the end of baseball in 2020. If there's an opportunity to move before that, that'll be negotiated. Clay County will agree to it, and the Chiefs will agree to it.
Sure. With the Chiefs, two separate places, you're not going to be here. Two separate leases then, that your plan is to have one, if it's Jackson County, still the same tax, but you can look at that way, but you'll have to separate on the lease, correct?
Right. We think that going forward these leases will be, they're actually separate leases today, but there's the most favored, there's cross checks, right? Most favored nation clauses and things like that. But we think, and if we go to East Village, that these can be two totally separate leases. Might even have different termination dates, depending upon what the Chiefs do, in terms of their evaluation of renovation versus build new and the amount of capital they intend to spend. So, but we think they're standalone.
Quick baseball question. You mentioned some of the teams that have kind of gone through this. The word tanking has been mentioned on many of them. You sit here today, kind of tear it down to build it back up. Are you guys tanking right now?
No, I'm not sure the definition of tanking, but
You feel what you're doing is different than what maybe the Astros did?
Well, what I was saying, that they went through a lot of pain, and they did well in the draft. They developed their players. They won 2 World Series, and same with it's just, and I see what I think if you think about what could we do right now, and what could I have done in the off season, wouldn't have made any sense to go sign a big player until we know we have the nucleus, and we've got to have that nucleus, and then we'll figure out what the remaining pieces of the puzzle are, and we're going to be more than willing. We're ready to spend some money, but it's about really the missing pieces of the puzzle to make sure that we're ready to compete and get back in the postseason.
All right, guys, we got clubhouse open in just a couple minutes. John will talk plenty going forward. We finish up with Greg.
John,
Yeah, Greg.
thanks, Sam. This is in regards to your remarks on community. There appears to be some labor issues with service employees who work in the community that you're trying to connect with. There is no community benefits agreement, nor does there appear to be any negotiations for a community benefits agreement. And there are issues with your Youth Academy. How concerned are you about the optics of those community issues?
Well, I'll try to jump in the order you asked. As it relates to the labor negotiations, that's a labor negotiation. I mean, it is the idea. I mean, we are negotiating in good faith. We treat our employees extremely well. It's not unusual, and it's not a criticism, but it's not unusual for labor unions to kind of go to the media and try to negotiate in public a little bit to bring pressure. They also, that group, I think, tried to, in that media release, they also tried to tie it to the stadium. It has nothing to do with the stadium, the negotiations with them going on right now. So I would say that, our labor law, I would refer you maybe more specific to our labor people, but that's been a good faith negotiation. I think we're on the cusp of, in fact, I think we've already settled a couple of those agreements. I think we are settled on wages, and I think they're going to be really happy. In fact, I know they're going to be really happy about the result. But I would not, I don't, I read that stuff about, look, when we were at our most difficult period financially, right when the pandemic started, we didn't lay off anybody, didn't furlough anybody. We took management pay cuts, shared sacrifice. We paid our minor leaguers. We turned the Urban Youth Academy into a community center, a vaccine clinic, a polling place. We created opportunities for children that couldn't go to their buildings to keep their education going. So and as it relates to your Urban Youth Academy, what was the other one?
Community benefits agreement.
Yeah, the community, that's, the details of that are actually premature. We definitely are working on the structure of the community benefits agreement. It will be one that's, I think there's always negotiation in that, but in terms of, we have a commitment to be kind of first tier as it relates to minority and women-owned businesses. We're sensitive to, we're listening and we're hearing, the people that are paying attention to us because of this project, whether it's livable wages or dignified housing. Those are things that we're sensitive to anyway. So, but I would say on the CBA, the collective, the community, that's premature. I would say the labor negotiations are normal course, and they don't reflect the way that we treat our people. I would just say that emphatically. And I would say, look at our behavior, not just what I say. And then as it relates to the Urban Youth Academy, that's a really important part of our mission here. And we're going to get it right. I'm aware of some of the concerns about, the baseball play down there and who's playing it, but we're going to get that right. That's an important part of our mission. And we continue to do really good things over there.
Cool. Thanks, Anthony.
All right, there's John Sherman, the owner of the Kansas City Royals, talking about a lot of different things that he covered in the ground of roughly 50 minutes or so, talking about the team, talking about the future, talking about the stadium, financing, locations, leases, conversations including the Chiefs, the state, the county, the city, all of those things. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. The Zone will be right after this commercial break, and a lot to react to and discuss from an extended conversation with John Sherman. More Zone next.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Golfers, a $100 Give Golf raffle ticket gives you and two buddies the chance to play 54 of Kansas City's finest holes of golf. Proceeds benefit the KCK Police Athletic League. Visit palkck.org for tickets.
Restrictions apply. See website for details.
Firework Mania Superstore is now open with a huge selection at the best prices. 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169. They have the coolest thing you'll ever see, Pyro Scan. Just scan the barcode and watch the fireworks before you buy them. Check them out online at firework-mania.com. The Firework Mania Superstore is the nicest fireworks store you've ever seen. Located just 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169.
Premier Volvo Cars of Overland Park has the largest inventory of new 2023 Volvos in the Midwest. Rates as low as 4.99 for up to 72 months. Don't wait. The deals are unbeatable, and now is the time to buy a new vehicle. Additional savings for Costco members, first responders, and members of our military. Just ask for Sean Weiss or Jimmy Loveland. Where luxury and safety meet, Premier Volvo Cars of Overland Park at 78th and Metcalf or at premiervolvocarsoverlandpark.com. See dealer for details.
Are you looking for the ultimate cannabis experience? Well, look no further than From the Earth Dispensaries. They offer the widest selection of top-quality flower, edibles, concentrates, and more. Whether you're a seasoned connoisseur or new to the world of cannabis, their knowledgeable staff is here to guide you every step of the way. For the location nearest you, visit ftemo.com. And don't miss this week's specials running now through the end of June. Buy one, get one 50% off on all illicit gummies and grown mega pearls.
Hey, it's Lebo here. Are you bored with your normal workout routine? Base Camp Fitness in Overland Park is here to help. The Base Camp Fitness Studio experience will completely change the way you think about exercising. They've changed mine. Their short, effective 35-minute workout is the perfect blend of strength and conditioning. This effective, efficient workout is driven by custom-made mixes, audio-visual effects with your own trainer leading the way. Call Base Camp Fitness today and make sure to tell them Lebo sent you to get 25% off your founding membership discount. The offer is good through June. Grand opening in August. Learn more at basecampfitness.com.
Hey Kansas City, are you looking for a place to stay on your staycation getaway? There's a space to play at the Inn at Meadowbrook. Enjoy the outdoor pool and hot tub overlooking the Meadowbrook Lake and Park. Go ride on the complimentary cruiser bikes and end the day by the fire pit after a full day of exploring Kansas City. So if you're looking for a place for a great staycation, check out the Inn at Meadowbrook. Located at 95th and Knoll in the heart of Overland Park. Feel free to call 913-329-9000 or make your reservation online at inatmeadowbrook.com.
and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
If I said, hey, your life depends on you successfully running a marathon in a year.
Oh, I can do it. Yeah, in a year. If my life depended on it, yeah.
6 months.
Yes.
3 months?
I mean, most people run it in, a few hours? I think I could do it in 6 months.
Great point, Beards. Great point.
Can I go home?
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Drake. We head up until 2 o'clock. Boy, a lot of stuff to discuss after the previous hour from John Sherman talking about a lot of different topics and things coming up in the Royals' present, near, and long-term future of the organization. 913-912-4810 is the text line. We will get into a lot of what John Sherman had to say, some of the bigger takeaways and points that he was making. We'll get into all of those. 913-912-4810 is the text line. You hear the ambiance in the background, and that is because Josh Brisco is out at the Charlie Hustle Warehouse going on at 19th and Cherry downtown. So, Josh, what's going on there? Let's let the folks know why you're there, what they can get, how long you're there, the cool specials, and then we'll talk about the Royal Stadium being built right there, oddly enough. I don't know why John Sherman said that. It's weird.
That's what I was actually thinking. You know, I've been doing my own press conference here for the last 50 minutes or so, and I really think I've drummed up quite a bit of support for the Zone to broadcast live from here today.
Awesome.
Now, that might not be on the ballot until April, but we're here now, and that for that I'm very grateful. It also made it just a nice, interesting thing to keep looking at around here while John Sherman was talking, because as you said, we're at the Charlie Hustle Warehouse Sale here at the Abbott. You can just put it in your GPS, the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. That's 1901 Cherry Street here in KC Mo. They opened at 9. It's open till 6. I'll be here with Dylan until 2 o'clock plus however long it takes for me to pick up some things and stand in line, because it is every time I look at a different table, there's a new thing. I'm going, oh man, I've seen that, but I didn't pick it up when it first hit shelves, or I've not seen that Charlie Hustle design. It is table after table after table, all sizes, all cuts, all types of anything from Charlie Hustle, 3 times more than they've ever had before. $25 fleece, $12 T-shirts, or $10 for $100. They got food trucks, music, entertainment, a great family-friendly event, outside, inside, all here at the Abbott, 19th and Cherry. It is an outrageously good deal for what I think is just consistently some of the absolute best Kansas City apparel anywhere around the city. So come on, check it out. I will certainly be hopping into line. Maybe first commercial break. I'm not sure, Jason. If we come back and I'm not here, just assume I'm trying on a hoodie.
Well, you had an hour to do that, so I'm hoping that you were able to get some things done while that was going on. Or maybe you were working and listening to John Sherman. I don't know.
Whichever. I should have stuck with the AirPod and just listened through the app and then wandered around. But I kept thinking, he could wrap up any time now, and then it just sort of kept going on. So, but no, that was legitimately fascinating, and I'm excited to talk about that just while wearing a new Charlie Hustle.
Absolutely. Let's get into that. 913-912-4810 is the text line. He started off with saying there are 3 things that they want to accomplish, 3 bullet points, 3 sort of major things. 1, better product on the field. 2, secure the future in Kansas City, which is stadium, media, fan access. That may be fan access with the TV deal as well. Mentioned later on in the press conference talking about the Padres and defaulting on the loan and how it could be good news for Major League Baseball eventually, and then use the brand for doing good in the community. Those are the 3 things he talked about, separating them by team and then by future plans and site of where the stadium is going to be. One thing that was made clear, they have every single intention, and they've made it clear a couple times before, and they continue to do that, that they will not be playing baseball at the K when 2030 hits. Saying it's time to leave the K, as he said, one of the other things in this long discussion. But as we look at the stadium part of it, we'll look at the team part of it because that's obviously important, but we've talked a lot about the team part of it as this season has progressed, as bad as it's been. The stadium part of it, to me, the biggest thing that John Sherman wanted to say, and he said it pretty forcefully, no one is waiting on us. And he said, I'll state again, no one is waiting on us. We are the urgent party here, which is not the message and the tone that is coming from others involved in the discussions, the negotiations, the conversations, the meetings about where the future of the Kansas City Royals and where they will play their games, where that will be, what stadium they will be, what lot they'll be at, the location, all of that stuff. Says, we're waiting on a few people that for whatever reasons aren't as urgent as we are. We need to have a sense of urgency. This is important, and the time is now. I worry about getting bogged down, the process slowing. He didn't mention specifics. He didn't say who the people are that they're waiting on for whatever reasons. He talked about working close with the Chiefs, conversations that are going on there, even saying the Chiefs probably appreciate us taking the bullets for them. Just out in front, taking the ball. They probably appreciate we're the ones out here as the meat shield, and they probably appreciate the fact that we're taking the bullets for them. Essentially like, hey, they're doing the same thing behind the scenes. They want all of this stuff too. They are perfectly fine with this. You guys are all talking about us. They're in the same boat. They probably appreciate us being out front first and on the front lines of this, taking these slings and arrows from the fans, media, elected officials, whatever that might be. I would love to know how they are the ones that aren't being waited on. When you say no one is waiting on us, you haven't decided which space you're going to go to yet. If you have already decided that East Village is where we are going to build, Clay County is not a part of this. Kansas isn't a part of this. We've been talking about the East Village for the last 3-4 years. It's where we are going to go. It's where the stadium will go, East Village. We just got to get this thing done. And we've been calling and trying to set up meetings with the mayor in Jackson County and the city and everybody else, and we can't get a hold of them, and they keep rescheduling, and we're saying, man, we want to get this thing on the ballot in August, and they're just delaying this and delaying this. We're trying to have this urgency because we want to get this done. It's great for Kansas City. It's great for the ball club. It's great for the future and the stability in the area. All of the public benefit that will come from this, as he was talking about. I'm just simply saying the way that he was presenting it, all of that that stuff that is positive for the city. If they're the ones that are not being waited on, we don't even know what site you're going to. And that was the point that we heard from the story in the Kansas City Star and those that are involved in the discussions of, we're sitting in purgatory. That's what it was called. That's the phrase they used, purgatory, because we don't know what site they even want to go to. And he said they are going to decide on which location by the end of the summer. Now, it's interesting you would say, we're the urgent party. No one is waiting on us. But we're going to take a couple more months to figure out where we're even going to go. But we have a sense of urgency. Everybody else is dragging their feet while we don't even know what spot we're going to be at yet. I'm not sure you can really square that circle of the Royals really being the team to have a sense of urgency in this. They may have a sense of urgency. They just may have a sense of urgency as in, hey, Jackson County, Clay County's now involved. Let's get this thing rolling and you want to throw some more things our way? We got these negotiations. We could go to Clay County. Let's roll. And they're like, no, we got you. We've already discussed these things. Offers on the table. This is what we're doing. Well, why are you guys dragging your feet? I mean, we've got a sense of urgency. We're trying to figure out where we're going to go here. Yeah, we told you. This is the deal. This is what we're doing in the East Village in Jackson County. Yeah, but Clay County's offering can you sweeten the pot? No. This is well, we're the ones that we have a sense of urgency. These guys are dragging their feet. And I don't know if that's what they mean behind the scenes, but there is a clear, different message coming from the two sides, from the elected officials, the city, the county, and the Kansas City Royals, of saying that they are the party with the sense of urgency. They are the urgent party here in this. It's hard to say that, Josh, if they're still trying to figure out where they're even going to move to and which county they're going to get the financing from.
I've been thinking about that statement from John Sherman for nearly an hour now because it was so early in the presser.
Yes.
We have had the time to marinate on it, and here's my best translation because, man, it jumped through the headphones to me too because it just completely strains credibility, right? You take everything from that Star story, and God bless Sam McDowell, who was putting up an excellent performance out there today, with asking good, pointed questions, but not being a dingus about it, which is a hard needle to thread sometimes. But to me, what it sounds like is John Sherman is up there saying, hey, we're ready to take your money whenever you're ready to give it to us. We're not waiting. We're not saying we're not ready to take your money. We've got a big paper bag here. Ding dong, trick or treat. Tax dollars, please. That their decision making, and it comes through in the way that he talked about, we're down just to the two sites, but we're not waiting on anybody. But there are multiple sites still here. It all feels like they're playing this sort of high risk, low reward leverage game of it always being. And I don't know what the offers are. I don't know what the sense of urgency is from outside of the Royals. But like we talked about yesterday, I expect the Royals to have the sense of urgency because the sooner they start building the stadium in the district, the sooner they can start making money from the new stadium and the district. So, of course, they have the sense of urgency. It makes sense also, of course, for the city to have less of a sense of urgency because right now, as far as we all particularly care, playing Kaufman for 5 more years, playing Kaufman for 10 more years, it's not going to change all that much about how we're consuming a baseball team that right now is kind of painful to watch anyway. I stuck with it last night for far too long. Man, what a terrible warm-up act for John Sherman today, because this is not really about the baseball team.
He was watching last night going, man, we need a win. Let's get a win. At least just don't be blown. Oh, no.
Maybe, okay, could we move this to Friday? Can we do a Friday presser?
Yes.
Yeah, well, and we talked about it. There was no doubt in my mind that he would come out and say total confidence in JJ and Quatrero because anything else would be lunacy at this point. You just gave these guys the keys 82 games ago or whatever. This is not a time for you to be changing your feelings about the baseball side and who you have leading it at the moment. But the stadium stuff to me felt it all fell kind of flat, and I don't feel like he was up there with some master manipulation. I was just very underwhelmed by a lot of the pretty predictable things that John Sherman said today, and it all still feels like this, again, high risk in terms of public perception, low reward in terms of what the difference might be in playing this leverage game.
He said that we've moved at warp speed relative to how long the process typically takes. I don't necessarily disagree. I haven't studied all the different length of time in different cities that they have renovated or built new and got the public financing, got it on the ballot, got it voted on, figured out a site, all of those things. I don't know how long typically those things would take to build brand new in a major, one of the major 4 professional sports leagues. But saying we moved at warp speed relative to how long the processes typically take, we'll get that down, that as in the site, we'll get that down to 1, we hope, by the end of the summer. So, yes, what I've talked about, what you've talked about, those were, some of the bigger takeaways, maybe the biggest takeaway about the entire thing. We can get into some of the other particulars, which I definitely want to. We're going to take a time out, come back. We will continue talking about this. He mentioned the ballpark district and what that will do for the team in creating revenue. He talked about what that business model will be. He discussed that they want to spend money on the team, but, it's not smart to do right now. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but we'll get into some of those things and the 3/8 cent tax, what that will generate, what the taxpayers will be on the hook for, the state, the city, extra money being brought in, and the investment that he's saying that will be privately financed by the Royals and others in getting this entire project done. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll continue. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, the Royals are in town this weekend hosting the Dodgers, and if you're looking to get out to the K, maybe enjoy a still pretty beautiful ballpark, my friends at Tickets for Less have you covered. Plus, you can score an extra discount in your order when you use promo code 810 at checkout. Simply visit ticketsforless.com and search Royals to find your tickets. Then, on the checkout page, be sure to enter promo code 810, that's 810, to score bonus savings on your order. You can also find tickets today on the free Tickets for Less app. Find it in the App Store today.
Sports Radio 810 is proud to be Kansas City's home.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. A lot of stuff to break down and discuss from the press conference from Royals owner John Sherman. Jason Anderson with you. Josh Brisco was hanging out at the Charlie Hustle warehouse going on today at the Abbott until 6 o'clock. Today only, he is there. You hear the party going on in the background. Just having a... Hey, you come here often? No.
Once a year. Just once a year only. Only time you're invited.
So we only have a couple of minutes in this segment, and then we'll get to the top of the hour and get more a longer extended conversation about this and John Sherman. But what's going on there at Charlie Hustle today, where you are at, and they can see your beautiful smiling and Dylan's beautiful smiling face.
Yeah, it will put a smile on your face, I think, to walk in, presuming that you are a Kansas Citian of any sort who has maybe seen Charlie Hustle before. This is basically, this is Charlie Hustle in the chocolate factory today. If I would have thought of that earlier, I would have probably opened the show with that. But that's where we're at. It is an incredible event where they've got $1 accessories, $8 youth prices, $12 T-shirts, $15 for long sleeves, $25 fleeces, and you can get bundles and save that way as well, all out here at the Abbott at the Charlie Hustle warehouse sale. Again, it is like being in a Charlie Hustle candy factory. So I'm going to definitely have to pick up a few new wardrobe staples because everyone knows the quality of Charlie Hustle. I've just never seen it this cheap before.
Yeah, so that's where you are today until 2 o'clock, but the sale until 6 o'clock going on down there. 913-912-4810. There have been a ton of texts coming in. It is hard to go through all of those, and I'm reading all of them, but it's hard to go through all of those and react on the air to a lot of the
vibe check?
They hate you. It's weird. I don't know why. That is what everybody's talking. It's like you haven't even really been talking. Mixed.
Me too, texters. Me too.
Mixed. I think right now the vibe is going to be pretty much in line with the vibe of Royals fans right now. It's a difficult ask to talk about moving the stadium and wanting public financing while the team is playing as terribly as it is right now. So there's a general, I think, overall frustration with the organization. But I mean, as I've talked about, that I've been in favor of downtown baseball for a long time. I wanted the Royals to move downtown back in 2005, 2006, when they had the renovations and that was voted for and all of that stuff. I was hoping that downtown was the spot for them, but David Glass got a letter from somebody that said they really enjoy Kauffman, so because of that letter, therefore David Glass could not move. And the parking was just going to be horrible, moving downtown. So the parking and then the letter, somebody that sent him a letter did not want to move from Kauffman, so that's why. But I wanted them to move downtown then, so I've been in favor of a downtown stadium, and I've been in favor of a district around the stadium because I do think it adds to the revenue of the ball club the way that we've seen other teams do that. But the general vibe right now is it's difficult to present this message while this is going on. And by the way, I mean, he didn't beat around the bush when he said it's time to leave the K. I mean, he talked about how beautiful it is and how great it is, and he's got memories. He's a season ticket holder and all of those things. But it's time to leave the K. And I don't know if those words come off a little more harsh than just, hey, we're going to move downtown. We need to do this for the ball club. We need to do this because of the stadium. We need to do this because of all these great things, is essentially saying it's time to leave the K. So they've been very out front of what they want to do, and we've known this since the ownership was announced of, owning some land down there in the East Village. That's what's so, I guess, incredible about this whole thing right now, and the timeline of it is they're going to be in the East Village. And when he says, what we had just talked about of that we are the urgent party here, no one is waiting on us. But then when he was talking about Clay County and Jackson County, and he said on the timeline, he said Clay County has some ideas, but also in Jackson County. The story's not over there. talking about Clay. The story's not over there. The extension of existing tax, reasonable ask. We expect the city and state would have. But he's talking about these things and discussing like Clay County and Jackson County and says, well, no, Clay County, the story's not over there in terms of what we're discussing with Clay County. So where's the urgency on your part to figure it out? We'll take a time out. Many other things to get involved with, including the Chiefs.
Summer is here. It's a time to vacation, get outside, and enjoy life with the one you love. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know how it makes you feel. Embarrassed, frustrated, even angry. And that can make summertime a lot less fun. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, I want to encourage you today to get treated. Stop dealing with the lack of confidence and low self-esteem that ED brings and start being intimate again without the fear you can't perform. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. Promedic Partner Practices have treated tens of thousands of men, and our protocols have success rates with well over 90%. And we have many treatment options and treatment combinations for greater efficacy. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again, both for you and your partner. So call us first, your initial appointment.
Nine 912-410, the text line to be a part of the show. 913-912-4810. Jason Anderson, Josh Brisco, Drake. We head up until 2 o'clock. Josh Brisco hanging out at the Charlie Hustle Warehouse. Sale going on today until 6 o'clock. Today only until 6 o'clock. $25 fleece, $12 T-shirts, or $10 for $100. There's going to be food trucks. I think there's going to be music there, but I can't tell. There's going to be entertainment, and that's really just Josh and Dylan doing a duet out there. So a fun event going on all day today at the Abbott downtown at 19th and Cherry. Let's talk about the Chiefs' involvement in this part of it. He mentioned that the Chiefs appreciate us taking the bullets for this process. He also mentioned the urgency that is there on their part. And a number of texts, you mentioned what's the tone of the text line. I would say a number of texts have talked about, well, when he's saying urgency, they believe that to mean that is the Chiefs part of it, that they are the urgent party here. They, as in John Sherman saying we, as in the Royals, are the urgent party here, and saying the party that is not necessarily urgent is the Chiefs, and maybe saying they probably appreciate us being out and taking the bullets for them because they're not exactly needing to do anything right now, and sort of letting this thing play out publicly when it is the scope and the overall sort of umbrella of the Royals. The Chiefs' connection here to this and the Chiefs' involvement. John Sherman saying a couple of different times when he was discussing the Chiefs, he says, Royals and Chiefs are together in an extension, then it would be very surprising if it failed, if they were together on the ballot. Talked about, because he was asked about if it fails, what happens then. He said, well, you always have options, but then said, look, if the Royals and Chiefs are together in an extension, then it would be very surprising if it failed. Essentially saying, hey, Chiefs, get on board. If you would also like us to leave, which I do believe both parties would like a separation here, would like a separate lease, especially if you're going to be at different locations. It wouldn't really make sense to have a connected lease, but separate leases, separate termination dates, separate areas. We'll see what type of financing that goes into that. But the Chiefs are going to have to be a part of this. And he was talking about the extension and the Chiefs their connection. As long as this lease goes on, these two teams are tight at the hip, which is also something that he had mentioned with the Chiefs. The fascinating part to me is going to be how much the Chiefs are involved in these discussions with Jackson County, because I believe they are. There's no way that the Royals in Jackson County are going to be having these discussions and the Chiefs are just going to be going, oh, I don't know what's going on. Mark Donovan's going to be involved in some of these conversations. If you're going to break the lease, there's going to be a dollar figure. Probably a dollar figure the Chiefs have asked for the Royals that, hey, if you're going to break this lease and this is what it's going to look like, this is the figure that you're going to have to meet. There's going to be a negotiation. There's always negotiations that are part of this. So how much are the Chiefs, quote unquote, dragging their feet in all of this? Maybe that's part of it in figuring out the breaking of the lease, but it's hard to say the Chiefs are the issue and they're the ones that are keeping this thing and holding this thing up, and we are trying to have a sense of urgency here when they haven't even picked a location. If they have picked a location and they're sitting down with Jackson County and John Sherman comes out and says, look, we are going to East Village. It's what we're doing. We got all these things set. But there are some people dragging their feet. We are the party of urgency right now. We are the ones that are trying to get this done. Then I can understand that being just a direct shot at the Kansas City Chiefs for not being involved. The Chiefs would like this to get done as much as the Royals would. I don't think there's any question about that. The issue's going to be, and this is where the Chiefs are involved, is if there's an extension of the 3/8 cent tax, that's going to be split between the Royals and the Chiefs. So how much is that then going to benefit the Royals and what they'll be able to get accomplished in the public financing? He said $350 million is the base ask from the county in the extension of the tax. But if the Chiefs are thinking, do we build new on the site that is currently Kauffman Stadium? Do we renovate? Is the $350 million, the 3/8 cent tax, is that going to be enough for us when we want to do some things down the road? Because if you're going to leave, then we're going to do some other things. That their conversations behind the scenes are also a part of this, and they'd have to be on board and okay with whatever the breaking of the lease deal is and whatever the financing happens, because if you're going to have the financing under the current lease or extend that tax is both for the Chiefs and the Royals, dollar for dollar, cent for cent. What goes to the Royals will immediately then go to the Chiefs. Everything will be split in half. What did you make of the conversation with John Sherman and the Chiefs' involvement here? And do you think part of dragging the feet and they're the party of urgency is talking about the Chiefs maybe being the ones that are lagging in these discussions?
It's kind of interesting because there's a part of it, and going back to the story from Sam McDowell and Kevin Hardy from the Star back that we talked about, whatever that was a week or two ago now. There's a section here that I'm just going to read you this paragraph and change because it puts it into this context that gives it a larger chance than I think I would have taken it just at face value, but I'll explain that too. They wrote, whatever deal they strike on a new lease would also ostensibly need to be approved by the Chiefs and logically, therefore, benefit the Chiefs, who tout more fans, money, and political heft. The two teams are tied together in leases that expire in 2031, and the Chiefs say they're content to wait until that date. The Royals want to act sooner. That was all, again, that was you explain all the tax stuff in more detail.
Yeah.
That was pre-presser. That was all back a couple weeks back. And the part of it for me that makes me raise my eyebrow in a little bit of, I don't know, slight disbelief is to say that the Royals, again, and this might just be an optics problem, which would be unfortunate if it's the case for them, I guess, the Royals seem a little bit frazzled right now in all of this conversation. Like, they're not really sure who they can blame or what they're getting blamed for fairly or unfairly, or it feels a little bit like they're out of sorts, which is, again, not a good thing to be doing in the beginning of a $2 billion project, I would imagine. But if the Chiefs are content to stay where they're at right now, and they are the ones holding out, not just for a deal that makes sense where they could benefit in the long run, or where they would get all of the Truman Sports Complex and be able to build out themselves. If they say, yeah, we're going to let you out of this early, if you want to make it worth our time. Otherwise, we will just sit here, twiddle our thumbs, and win Super Bowls until 2031. And then we can all go our separate ways and amicably split there. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are answers to this, but I could not even begin to figure out what the Chiefs could get from the Royals right now in terms of what their long-term plans would be, because we don't really know the Chiefs' long-term plans. And again, right now, the Chiefs can say everything from having, Mark Donovan talk about Kansas and all the other options. You can have Clark Hunt say, I love Arrowhead, and I got an Arrowhead Stadium inside my new Super Bowl ring. And they can do that for the next 7 years. I mean, not literally, because you need to know where you're going after the lease, but they could do that for a long time, and they could have their plans self-contained for years and years and happily keep winning and hosting AFC Championship games at Arrowhead. And the Royals do not have that luxury.
Let's hear from Dan Tarwater. He was on with the program yesterday in the 5 o'clock hour. That is, 3 decades of the Jackson County legislator, Dan Tarwater, and was in studio with Todd Lebo, Curtis Seabolt in the program yesterday. The timeline, the Chiefs and the Royals, and whether or not the Chiefs were aware of the Royals' announcement, the timeline, when the Royals released the letter and said, look, our intention is to move downtown. Here's Dan Tarwater weighing in on the awareness that was there, or lack thereof, by the Chiefs and the Royals' announcement and timeline.
I think they were caught a little bit by surprise. The Royals, had come to the legislature. I had met with the different people in the organization, and they wanted us to put it on the ballot in August.
Last year. Last August.
And at that point, I said, "What are we putting on the ballot? Where's it going to be? How much is it going to cost? What's the infrastructure look like?" So it was way too early. Right now, no. And
did they have an answer?
They did not have an answer. I asked them if they could explain the most favored nation clause and some of the others, because if one team gets something, the other team does also, because the leases are combined.
The most favored nation clause is an interesting one there, because the Royals demanded it be in the lease agreement back in 2005, 2006. The county, the city, whatever, was not going to include that. The Royals wanted it included because they said, look, if the Chiefs do something, we want to do something. And the explanation of the Royals was, yeah, but right now, if the Chiefs do something, it's their money they're doing it with. And the Royals said, no, but if they do anything, we want to also be able to upgrade. And they're like, yes, but then it would be the taxpayers that do that. Yeah, we don't care. We want this back in the lease agreement, the most favored nation clause here. So they did that. They put it in there. And now the Royals are at the mercy of that clause, because whatever they do has to also benefit the Chiefs, as opposed to, if that wasn't in there, the Royals could be doing these different things and not have to worry about what the Chiefs think about that, because you wouldn't be dollar for dollar. So that's part of it. The Chiefs being caught off guard, and they were unaware that the Royals were going to make an announcement and a timeline and all of that. That's certainly interesting. But let's play this clip. Dan Tarwater talking about the resolution of maybe that can come between the Chiefs and the Royals, saying that he believes that the two parties are working on a resolution right now.
The unilateral decision that both teams are going to be working on, they are right now. And then once they are separated, then the Royals can do their own thing off to the side.
Yeah. And
then the Chiefs can do their own things. Right now, the Royals can't do their own thing without bringing the Chiefs into it. So the Chiefs, I think, have told them what a number was that they would like to see. And I think that's probably what they're going to agree upon.
So that's an interesting thing there. So if we are talking about breaking or separating the lease, the two teams, and having to work together, that, okay, Royals, if you want to break the lease, if you want to break this agreement that isn't over until 2031, that we are fine with staying at Arrowhead till 2031. We don't have the need to move right now. You are the ones that feel like you need to move. Okay, so breaking the lease and the most favored nation clause, there's going to have to be some negotiation here. Here's the number. And as Dan Tarwater said, there's going to be a number the Chiefs give them, and the Royals will then, meet that. We'll then pay that, and they will eventually separate, and they can do their own thing. Maybe that's a big part of this, is trying to figure out the negotiations with the Chiefs while also figuring out where they're going to go and what site they're going to go to. But it's, again, difficult when the packaging and the messaging is about the timeline of what we want to do. I mean, he mentioned there, Josh, they came to the legislature to get this on the ballot in August of 22. They wanted to get this on the ballot of August of 22. They're not going to even pick out a site until after August of 23, and they're hoping that maybe April of 24. So they were clearly way out over their skis in this whole thing, and maybe they didn't give enough of a thought to the Chiefs and their role in this and how to work with them. I'm not sure how everything went on behind the scenes, but Dan Tarwater saying there, yeah, the Chiefs were caught off guard. And, yeah, they're going to negotiate. They're going to figure out how to split these things and go their separate ways. But that's also a hurdle that has to take place before they can even get on the ballot, essentially, or at least have an agreement to take place before it can get on the ballot. And they want to have this thing on the ballot in April. They don't have a location there either. So there's so many different ways and so many different moving parts and convoluted with this entire thing because they've been tied at the hip for so long.
And, I mean, you touched on what, again, for me, ends up being like a borderline unforgivable sin of all of this, is that it seems like they're out ahead of their skis. And look, I've never brokered any billion-dollar stadium deals or tried to negotiate with Mark Donovan and Clark Hunt and, the city and county and states and pulling all of that together. I understand how many moving parts have to be involved here, but you have to be able to sort some of that stuff out behind the scenes. And it feels like so many of those disagreements, so many of the places where they've stubbed their toe, it feels like we're watching it all in HD and in perfect quality. Somebody tweeted in as I was, tweeting some of the clips and following along in the presser. Mm-hmm. Somebody tweeted, I don't know what winning the press conference would have looked like, but that wasn't it. And I also don't think that John Sherman made a terrible fool of himself. I think that was a 0-0 draw of a presser for all sides. And McDowell had a bicycle kick that just went off the crossbar. But with that in mind, it feels like at best, and part of this is now with the albatross of the team finding new and sadder ways to lose. It feels like with so much related to the Royals right now, there is just sort of this malaise, and the inverse of the benefit of the doubt. You are doubted by default when you have all of this sort of confusion that again just comes off as being unsorted. That you did not have all your ducks in a row and that you've been planning this on the fly. And again, I don't actually believe that's how they've done it, but for that to essentially be the end result for people looking from the outside is just a really tough way to not just have the public on your side in public perception, but to be willing to vote for you to spend their money out of their pocket to subsidize your next project. You've got to manage that better, and it feels like it's been bungled a few times now.
I want to compartmentalize the different things going on here in how I'm viewing the overall issue and conversation and topic about this. One, I'm of a few different mindsets. One is, as I've said, I'm in favor of a downtown ballpark. I want this to work out. I want them to figure this thing out, have this closure with the Chiefs, whatever divorce proceedings, do they need a mediator, whatever it might be, divorce lawyers get involved and figure this thing out and go their separate ways and figure out the house and everything else. I want that to be the case, to be done, because I think both teams want that to be done. I think it's better for both individual franchises as well. And for the Royals to move downtown. I am in favor of that. I am in favor of a ballpark district because what we've seen with other teams and how that has benefited the organization and benefited the payroll. So I am in favor of those things, while at the same time feeling like there are some steps along the way that have been taken by the Royals, or at least the public perception of these steps that have been taken by the Royals along the way, that have been bungled or missteps, and the incredible difficulty of the ask of the public financing when your team is struggling the way that it is right now. When he says the $2 billion project, whatever we get from the public, then we'll take on the rest. That will be in excess of $1 billion. But he's talking about $350 million as the base ask. So nothing less than $350 million. That would be the 3/8 cent tax over 25 years that would be extended, that they expect to get to $300 to $350 million. The reason they expect that is because they got to split it with the Chiefs if it was to be just simply extending that particular tax. If they have some sort of a lease agreement to break that with the Chiefs and maybe they get that whole thing, maybe it's even more. But he also says we expect the city, the state to contribute as well. Well, that's not just money they print. So while, yes, public financing comes in with the 3/8 cent tax, there's also, tax money from the state, from the city that go in when he says we expect there to be something from, the governments, the budgets there to help out along the way. And then whatever is left over, they'll take on the rest. Essentially, they are saying they are going to pay for private financing in different ways for the district, for the ballpark district that will surround the new stadium downtown, which I am definitely in favor of. Okay, I've talked about this. I've discussed it before on the air. We went through the financials of what the Rangers have done in their ballpark district. When they built that, they own that. They rent it out to Cordish. The Cordish Group, we got a conversation on Twitter because I was like, the Cordish Group owns that. No, the Rangers do. And the Cordish Group pays the Rangers to have their particular bars, restaurants in that location, and some other shops, whatever it might be. The Atlanta Braves and the Battery, what that's called for the Atlanta Braves, and the money they've reinvested into the organization. I've talked about that, and I am only in favor of that if there is a guarantee, and I would love it to be in writing or contract, and you want to be, transparent, John Sherman. I'd love you to be transparent in the money you bring in from this ballpark district. What is the revenue you are generating? And dollar for dollar, that is going back into the ball club, because he mentioned that they can be more competitive with the new stadium. He talked about the Atlanta Braves and the revenue with the Battery. Those revenues have helped extend, key guys and their teams. He said it creates that kind of new stadium for us. New stadium will help create and generate revenue with the surrounding district. This is the money quote from that whole thing. Quote, "This is a business that you don't give the money to investors. It's a business model. You take the extra cash flow and invest in the team on the field." Now, he wasn't talking about it's a business as in the ownership of the Royals. He was talking about the business model of the ballpark district, the Battery. I don't remember what they call it down in Arlington with the Rangers, whatever it might be. He's talking about that business model is whatever you are making, you invest back into the team on the field. He said that. He said it before. He said it again in this press conference that money will then go to payroll, will then go to the organization. And that's where media, fans, but especially media as being the conduit to the fans, would have to hold his feet to the fire of, okay, the revenue is being generated at this degree. Why is the payroll still sitting at this? That cannot happen. Because I believe all of this stuff is going to get done. They're going to pay for the ballpark district. That's what they're talking about. We're going to put in like over $1 billion. Yes, so you can be these real estate barons and own property everywhere, which is what a lot of these professional teams and owners are doing. They're getting into the real estate business. They're owning the properties there, and they're renting out and getting money from different things and then getting money from fans that are there. How much does that go and reinvest into the team? If that is going directly into payroll, then I am all for it, and that is the ultimate meaning of the new stadium helps them compete with what's going on in today's finances, because that revenue would not be shared. It would just simply be the Royals. That's the money quote. The business model, you take the extra cash flow and you vest it in the team. You don't give it to the investors that are there. Now, what part of that? Because people aren't investing $1 billion to not make any money. So what part of that is going to be taken from the revenue and put back into the ball club? Because I do believe the Royals, with the payroll they have, they're not just going to be able to go out and spend money. We got people talking about the Rangers. Look at the money the Rangers have invested in their ball club since they started turning a profit on their ballpark district. The Atlanta Braves, since they've started turning a profit on the Battery. It'll take a couple of years. But when that happened for them, the money went into the team. If the Royals follow that same path, then yes, you can have more players purchased in the offseason to be a part of the big league club.
Do we believe team owners when they say stuff like that?
No. Of course not.
And your Rangers example is the one that gives me hope, and it just has me like with my, and you can't see me right now. I've just got my hands on my temples. Like, that's just sort of the posture that I end up in so much of this conversation, because the business model laid out that way would be fabulous. And you create money that's not a part of revenue sharing. And also just the idea of like having a ballpark district. I've talked about these a few times, but like two of the most enjoyable sports experiences of my lifetime was stumbling upon Wrigley in a day where there was not a baseball game there. We did not go, but just walking around Chicago and then basically bumping into Wrigley is an incredible experience. And in Tampa, they've got the whole district that you can take a boat to for the Lightning games down there. I love those experiences. It's why I do want there to be downtown baseball. I love the idea of there being an entire district around it, both with that business logic, because if you can pull that off, fabulous, and because I think it would be a great place to go spend a Wednesday night. Like I really want that for the city. I want that for myself. Like I think it would be an awesome development. And if this is all such good business, I just wish these deep-pocketed individuals who make up the ownership group would go ahead and follow the strength of their convictions and just grab a shovel, like just go start doing it. Obviously, there are differences in the details, or you can speak to thinking about your conversation with Chris Long and the Current. Did anybody notice how fast that happened?
Yeah.
Did everybody take note as to how quickly it went from Kansas City's getting an NWSL team? They barely had a name, and it felt like construction had begun on that stadium. And here we are with the Royals. And again, lots of differences. I understand this, but man, it's a little bit deflating. Even if you're an optimist that maybe that perfect vision of John Sherman's will be executed, great. I would love to see that benefit the payroll. That's also going to be 8 years from now, we're hoping that maybe
right.
10, a full 10 years from today until it benefits payroll.
You're talking about.
I don't know that. Cal Shanahan doesn't know that we're going to be here on Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you're talking about 2030 when that goes back into payroll. That's the timeline I would give. If he says that they're going to be playing in Kauffman Stadium for the next 4 or 5 years, that they could be in a downtown stadium in 27 or 28. You'd give 2 years of that district being open before you start to see the investment back in the ball club. It's what the Braves and the Rangers, that's just realistic. So 2029, 2030, It's not you vote for this to be passed and the Royals are now going to move to the East Village and then, hey, now they're going to invest, the payroll is going to be $250 million. Like, that's not going to be the case. It's taken a while, and that's also part of when he talks about the urgency of wanting to get it done, the quicker they can get it done, the quicker they can, at least in theory, turn a profit and put that back into the big league club. But it is hard to convince people that, no, I promise. No, I swear this is what we're going to do. You just got to take my word for it. And that's what they're asking, because you do really at this point just have to take their word for it. I'm willing to give them the chance to take their word for it, but I'd also like to see something in writing. I don't know how you would do that, but I'd love to see something in writing to where whatever percentage of the revenue or entire revenue is then required to go into payroll. I mean, I would love to see that. In college athletics, and it's different when it's a nonprofit, all of that stuff. But in college athletics, you can give a donation and say, no, this donation is specific to the wrestling team. And you can put it in the endowment and say, no, I'm giving you $5 million for the wrestling team. And the endowment can't grab some of that and go, yeah, but we want to work on the chemistry program. Yeah, too bad. I gave you that specifically for the wrestling team. You can't touch that. But, it's different with professional sports. Is there something to guarantee that it's not just what I say, it's written down, it's in ink, it's voted on, it's T's crossed, I's dotted, that this revenue from this district will go directly into payroll. Because then that's putting your contract, billable hours where your mouth is, if you're going to be doing that. That might be an easier sell on the district if there's something there in writing of the generated revenue directly goes into the ballpark or the payroll, and there's a way to have checks and balances with that. We'll see.
And real quick, if there's anything I'm not really worried about right now, it's that I'm not worried about John Sherman spending money on baseball. He bought this team not very long ago. They've been horrendous while he's owned them, and the stadium is empty. I think he knows losing baseball is not filling his pockets. I think that they're going to start spending as soon as there's any reason. I just, don't really want to pay for their stadium.
I mean, trying to find the quote here. When he was asked about tanking, no, I don't even know what the definition of that is. If you think about what we can do right now and look back, wouldn't have made sense to go buy a new player until we find out the nucleus. We are more than willing. We are ready to spend money. It's about being in position to compete, more about missing pieces to the puzzle and being ready to compete. But he did say that. We are more than willing. We are ready to spend some money. Okay. I mean, we'll see. He's gone on record with a couple of things, but, it's going to be more Pollyanna. It's going to be, hey, this is where our vision is. This is why we're in this position we are right now, and this is going to be of great benefit to the public. It could be. That's the selling point, though. One quick one as we take a time out. I apologize. This very briefly. He said, there's positive support for this. When you talk with people, they don't want to lose the Royals and Chiefs in this town. They want to remain a pro city. That's different than saying, do you want to move downtown? I don't know if you noticed that when he said there's a lot of support for this, that you talk to people, they want to stay a professional city. They don't want to lose these two teams. Yeah, I believe we're talking about two different subjects here. And I don't know if that was a small little, let me plant the seed there about, well, we may move. I'm not saying we're going to, but, I know people we talk to, they certainly don't want to lose the pro teams in town. I know that. There's a lot of support for us staying here in Kansas City. I don't know. I just think those are two totally different things of having support. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 W8.
913-912-4810. Text says, what percentage of revenue would you like to see? I think saying revenue that's generated from the ballpark district put back into payroll. What percentage would I like to see? 100. That's what I would like to see, the percentage of revenue put back into the payroll. Probably not realistic, but that's what I would like to see. Text says, you want a guarantee, Jason? Well, I could take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed. I've got extra time. But for your sake, your daughter's sake, you might want to think about building a quality product from us. No, that's pretty good. It's a movie quote, Josh. You'll see it when your kids are old enough to watch movies. Probably. It's when
I just assumed it wasn't for me. Yeah, you seem tickled. It sounded like a movie reference. I was happy for you guys.
Nope. It's a boy named Tommy. All right, so let's hear this clip from John Sherman. This was probably the main takeaway from this whole thing in the sense of urgency or the waiting and what came out in the Kansas City Star, which is why I believe John Sherman wanted to have this press conference today, is sort of a counter to that particular story. And here he is talking about, the timeline, the urgency about who's actually dragging their feet. No one's waiting on us.
No one's waiting on us. We are the urgent party in this process. And that's not a criticism of any of the other people that we're waiting on. They may have other things to deal with. The chief certainly, we're together with them. They understand our decision-making process. We understand theirs. As it relates to Jackson County, our ask of them is very clear, and it has been clear for some time. It's to extend the existing sales tax, the existing 3/8 cent sales tax, and really that's being used today to maintain 2 aging buildings, and to redeploy that capital to do something very special that will have immediate impact on Kansas City. That ask has been in place for some time. As it relates to Clay County, that is I'd make it clear that they entered this process relatively recently, but I would just say that that is a serious bid. It's a serious idea, and it's one that we're taking very, very seriously. But I would just say again, I understand where other parties are, but I would just make clear that no one's waiting on us in this process.
That was one of the main takeaways. Sam McDowell then had the follow-up of, if nobody's waiting on you, then where's the waiting game? Then what are you guys waiting on?
Well, we're waiting on a few people that have, that we understand their reasons that they're not as urgent as us about this. We think it's important that we have a sense of urgency about this because this is a really important project, and the time is now. And I worry a little bit about getting bogged down and this process slowing down and losing momentum. We're in a good spot right now. The polling is very positive, and the polling's positive both in Jackson County and in Clay County. But when you say other people are, why don't you give me an example?
Well, like City Hall has expressed that they're waiting on a site selection from you guys before they move forward. They say that you haven't made a financial ask to them either.
Who haven't we made a financial ask to?
At the City Hall level.
Well, okay, so let me talk about where we are in the financial ask as it relates to Jackson County. The extension of the 3/8 cent sales tax will raise between $300 million and $350 million of capital for each team with the extension. In addition to that, it will create an ongoing long-term maintenance fund like we have today, which is really important when you think about these projects. That's why these 2 buildings have stood the test of time. And when you think about the ongoing maintenance and the renovation, that's why we've hosted an All-Star game, 2 World Series, and 5 consecutive AFC Championship games that's a really important part of it. So we really need to know that that's secured. And when I say secured, I don't mean in the bank, but that we have partners that are ready to, and including the chiefs, put this thing on the ballot and get that. And then we are in conversations with the city and the state. Met with the governor, met with a number of people who are interested, and really but the 350 is really that kind of base financing. We'll have asks of the state and the city, and they if it's not specific, they certainly know the range, and then ownership will take the rest of that. And ownership will take, and so if you think about it, in round numbers, it's a $2 billion project. It's probably more than that when you think about infrastructure. Whatever we get from the public, we'll take the rest, and and that number will be well in excess of $1 billion of private capital from ownership and our partners.
So the disconnect, I think, from John Sherman to the public now, coming from the Kansas City Star article, is while those in Jackson County, those that were quoted of being in purgatory and pick a site and figure these things out, and Clay has come on relatively late, but it's a very serious offer. They're taking it very seriously, and certainly the East Village part of it, and him saying there that, look, they know the ask. It's the extension of the 3/8 cent sales tax, which would generate in taxes and raise anywhere from $300 to $350 million capital for each team with the extension, and then the long-term maintenance fund, and then talking about the partners that they have to have that are ready to put this on the ballot, including the Chiefs. And when he says we're waiting on a few people, that we understand the reasons for not going fast. We've got to have a sense of urgency. The time is now. I mean, that's talking about the Chiefs. There are certain people that we understand why they're not necessarily interested in the same timeline as us right now, that being the Chiefs. Let's hear this clip from John Sherman on the Chiefs' influence on their plan and the timeline.
I would say, as far as the specifics about what I want to let them speak for themselves, but I would just tell you we're in close communication on this as it relates to Jackson County. They're going to make. When I say we'll be making our decisions by the end of the summer, I think they're on a similar timeline. I think that's their objective, to tell us, or to talk about what they want to do in that similar time frame. But I would ask you to talk to them, and I'd really rather let them speak for themselves. But just we are working together and for a solution in Jackson County.
If the Chiefs are on the ballot with a sales tax extension, that would be an easier sell to voters. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I do think. I mean, it's the details of the polling. We did scientific polling. Both the Royals by themselves. The simple extension of the sales tax for both teams is pretty overwhelmingly positive. As you start to separate that, it becomes a little choppier because it's more change, and you haven't come up with the bigger solution. And the other thing about we really we're tied at the hip with the Chiefs here. That anything that we do to do something before the end of the season in 2030, the Chiefs have to approve. Anything they do, we would have to consent to, and then Jackson County has to be part of that process. So. We're trying to get us all in a room and start rolling up our sleeves and working for a solution for both clubs. And that's good.
Is that the primary hurdle to you guys making a decision? North Kansas City versus downtown Kansas City?
Is the primary?
Is that the hurdle, or is it actually government folks that are keeping you from making that final
Well,
decision?
I think I would say, look, I am. In a lot of ways, I'm sympathetic to both of them, but I understand where the Chiefs are. I understand that, we wanted to get this thing, that our urgency was greater, and they actually, I think, appreciate us being out there taking a lot of the bullets for this process. But so they understand our decision making. They were on a different timeline, but they also understand. That we have to work together. We have to work together whether we stay in Jackson County or whether we go to Clay County, if it's going to be before the end of 2030. And when I say work together, it's us, the Chiefs, and public officials from Jackson County.
A lot of stuff there, too. Just a lot of stuff there with the Chiefs' involvement and the extension and things like that. The timeline for the Chiefs. He's clearly talking about the communication with the Chiefs, as well as Jackson County, and what needs to get done before they can even get this thing on the ballot, and the Chiefs being a part of it. And saying that, we're in close communication with the Chiefs on this, as well as Jackson County, tied at the hip with the Chiefs. They are on a similar timeline. I'd rather them speak for themselves. We are working together for a solution with Jackson County, Clay County, whatever it might be. Then talks about the scientific polling with the Royals and Chiefs. If it's together, it's a little bit easier. If they separate it, it's a little choppier because there are no specifics for the bigger solution, tied at the hip and whatever they do. Talking about, I'm sympathetic to both Clay, Jackson County, the Chiefs. They understand where the Chiefs are coming from. Says we have to work together if we stay or go to Clay County. Says the Chiefs probably appreciate us taking the bullets for this. But they're on a different timeline than we are. But we have to work together no matter where we go. Well, are they on a different timeline or are they on a similar timeline? Because he started off by saying, well, the Chiefs were working together and, they're on a similar timeline as we are. So, we can tell us, what they want to do and I'll let them speak for themselves. And then saying, sort of dragging the feet, and we need everybody involved here, and they probably appreciate us taking the bullets for this process because, they're on a different timeline. I would love the Chiefs to speak for themselves. Go ahead.
I would too, and we always get to hear from Mark Donovan pretty early on in the St. Joe press conference circuit, so it'll be about a month, I bet, but shortly I hope we hear from him there too. It's just funny to listen to it again and to hear John Sherman talking about it, sort of like specifically in the terms of a ballot, because how this works in politics, right? Like you've got your presidential candidate, and then your VP is there to kind of get some more people to feel good about your main candidate, right? Like you never want to get an exact clone of your president and your VP. Right. You want to mix it up a little bit.
We need this demographic over here, so we're going to get this VP to bring in that demographic.
Yeah, whatever. If you're playing whatever demo game you're playing, the vice president is always there to do that. And then it's like, hey, so what is their job actually? And no one's ever actually sure. Right now, it makes a lot of sense for the Royals to be like, yeah, no, we'd love to be the Chiefs VP right now. Just, you know what? Just tack us on with the Chiefs. Let's go ahead and get all this going together. Just since we're already here, that might be good for our overall rating. Because the Chiefs have an approval rating in Kansas City of, I'm going to just say like 99.8%, because Facebook exists and no one's ever 100% happy. but the Royals right now are polling, I think you could say, unfavorably. And so that is just such a funny little aspect of it when so much of this points to these two teams heading for a split for a variety of reasons that make a lot of sense. And like John Sherman might kind of keep just showing up outside of Clark Hunt's window holding the boombox over his head. Like, hey, I think we could do a lot of good stuff together, you and me.
It's a tightrope for John Sherman to walk, to come out and say, this is great for everybody. This is not about us. The Chiefs are dragging their feet. We need them to be on the same timeline to get this done. But they are great partners, and this thing is going to be great with them involved, and we're going to get this whole thing done. We're tied at the hip, and it's all going to be good, and we're negotiating and talking because, hey, we don't want to piss off the Chiefs. But I do want people to know that don't just get mad at us, because there are other teams involved, like the Chiefs, that maybe aren't coming along as quick as we would like to get this thing done. But we love the Chiefs, and we don't want to blame the Chiefs in this, because the last thing we want to do is pit the Royals versus the Chiefs in financing, because that is a battle they will lose in a first-round knockout. That is Tyson coming up early in his career and walking out to the middle of the ring and throwing one punch and walking away. That ain't a fight you want to get. So how are you, John Sherman, to be out there and say, the timeline is we are not dragging our feet. We've got the urgency. We're not dropping the ball on this. We're not, waffling. There is part of this that we don't have control over with the lease we're in. But they are great partners, really good partners, and also it's their fault. But we love them. But it's their fault.
It's arguing on the debate stage, and then you eventually drop out and say, if they'd be interested in putting me on their ticket, I'd take it. That's what it feels like we're at right now.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Josh Brisco, who is hanging out at the Charlie Hustle warehouse at the Abbott 19th and Cherry downtown. Going on until 6 o'clock. The sale today only, the huge Charlie Hustle sale going on today. You can enjoy some of the incredible savings on tons of the product. 3 times as much of the gear than ever before going on with this particular sale today only until 6 o'clock. 913-912-4810. Also, the tweet at J810Anderson tweet comes in, says, so you aren't at all concerned at the new ballpark district taking away from P&L just blocks away? Did the Rangers have that problem? I'm not sure about the Rangers having that problem because, well, they didn't have the problem because the Cordish is a part of that new district area, so it's kind of be combined with P&L and that, where this is going to be completely separate. But P&L is going to be more of a year-round thing. I don't know that the ballpark district in the winter or fall or spring is going to be as lively and vibrant as the P&L is when they've got concerts and other things that go on there, and bars and things like that. I also think, as people saying, well, they downtown, if it's a downtown ballpark, you can do some different things. You can walk from the new stadium in the East Village over to the Power and Light District. Well, that's not really what the Royals are wanting to have happen. So what the Royals are wanting to have happen is that they can draw an extra crowd out there that typically wouldn't be downtown going to Power and Light, that then would go to Royals games in the ballpark district and spend money there, or housing that's there that might be a little more expensive that they build around there, and they're the landlords of all of that stuff, and they own that real estate. Whereas the people that would be going down to the Power and Light and the different things that are there are still going down to the Power and Light. The Royals ballpark district would be presented there for the people that are going outside. Like, I don't think anybody would be going, you know what, we're going to go to the Power and Light today, but we decided that we're going to go over to the Royals game. Maybe that'll happen, but I think the Royals are trying to draw in the extra crowd, also real estate, housing, things like that, to go along with some of the shops and restaurants and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all creating these other revenue streams, and then what will it actually be, and how often will it be not just open, but like you say, kind of a hopping center of the city, and then how is all of that behind the scenes math getting solved right now in terms of P&L versus what this district might look like, and then another place where the numbers just started getting kind of cross-eyed for me today. Started being a little confused is where it comes from. Where Sherman talks about it being a more than a $2 billion investment in all likelihood, which he sounded so confident about that I wonder it's 2 point what now, because it's moving up, it seems. Well, and there's what was the $300 to $500 million in tax, in the sales tax, and you say, well, then we're prepared to spend upwards of $1 billion. Whatever we don't get from taxpayers, we're going to take it from there. And I kind of keep adding, like, all right, well, let's just aim high. Let's say the whole thing's only worth $2 billion, and you guys are paying $1 billion, and let's say you get a full $500 million from the city. Do we know where the rest of this? There's $500 million that's gone missing, and not just in Patrick Mahomes' bank account.
No, he said they expect the state and the city to be a part of it as well, to give money. I don't know the exact phrasing I'm looking for it here, but essentially, this is the base ask of $300 to $350 million. We also expect the state and the city to be a part of that.
So the state and city is rounding out the rest of the
we
number
expect
there.
the city and state would add to that as well. We expect the city and state to add to that as well. That the base ask is $350 million. They are going to invest $1 billion. And then, filling in the gap, as you said, sort of would be, we want the state and the city to add the rest, whatever it comes to. So 3% tax, and then state, city, taxes that would go there. We wouldn't call it a
I love
tax,
baseball.
just budget.
My favorite part.
We're going to talk football next.
The ESPY Awards are back, and once again, ESPN has chosen Sports Radio 810 WHB to help honor Kansas City's outstanding players and coaches in our community with honorary ESPY Awards. You can make a nomination now at 810WHB.com or the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page. Help your hometown radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, recognize the amazing efforts of our local players and coaches. Make your nominations today.
All of your banking needs. Member FDIC.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up an hour from now, we will play a little sports or leisure. We'll have some fun. We'll lighten the mood. Is what we will do. We will cleanse the palate at 1 o'clock with Sports or Leisure. Have a little fun there with some sports questions, some leisure questions, and $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Right now, let's cleanse the sports and the baseball palate. Let's talk some NFL football and some Kansas City Chiefs. Joining us now, Matt Connor of Arrowhead Addict and also editor at Fanside. And Matt, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good, Jason. How are you today?
I am doing just fine. I appreciate you coming on the show for a couple of reasons. One, looking forward to talking some Chiefs with you. Two, the last 2.5 hours have been just about stadium talk, and I'm ready to do something else. So
that's a long time, my friend. Long time.
That's exactly right. So 2 reasons, but mainly talking some Chiefs with you is what I want to do. Let's start with this. Kelsey, greedy. He just wants more money is what he wants. He's being taken advantage of. He's going to demand more money. He's underpaid. I'm expecting a holdout, Matt, right? I mean, at least that's the way I saw it phrased in a couple of headlines yesterday.
I mean,
Weird.
The last rumors I heard were he and Chris Jones were just like hiding out somewhere.
That's right.
With Larry, it's called the Larry Johnson suite that they just.
I knew it.
They just kind of.
I knew it. Yeah.
Hang out there.
I thought it was odd. I heard a rumor that they're both asking for the exact same contract. So that's going to be difficult.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it feels. It's just so frustrating to see like the irresponsible headlines pulled out of some of these things. And Kels made out to be. What's really amazing is I think the quote. I loved the piece in Vanity Fair, and it's hard to find nuance in journalism today, especially sports journalism. And so I love the fact that Travis was actually on the record being a little bit vulnerable, going, maybe it is unfair that tight ends aren't paid what wide receivers are, and that I'm the example of that. And then but then to also say, earlier in the piece he said, I recognize how lucky I was to fall to Kansas City in the first year of Andy Reid's tenure. So he's both grateful and can understand both sides, and the piece reflects the whole thing, and then everyone wants to pull out like one part of the quote.
The part of the quote, sorry to interrupt, Matt. The part of the quote was him saying, my managers and agents love to tell me how underpaid I am. Anytime I talk about wanting more money, they're just like, why don't you go to the Chiefs and ask them? That was then made a headline of Travis Kelce talks to his agents about being underpaid and wants more money. I tweeted this last night I would say he was intellectually dishonest if I thought there was intellect there, but just simple dishonesty. That was about this particular quote. If Kelce is talking to his agents about wanting more money and the agents tell him to go ask the Chiefs, it means he's not asking his agents to get more money from the Chiefs. That is a very simple concept to get if you're actually reading with some sort of reading comprehension there. It can't be both. Hey, I want more money. Well, then why don't you go and talk to the Chiefs? If he's saying, I want more money from the Chiefs, like that, you read from that what you want to read if you are trying to sort of be disingenuous to a degree, or you're just simply not smart enough to pick up the nuance of he has multiple streams of income. And he could be talking to his agents about, hey, how do we get more money here? Talk to the Chiefs. All right, well, let's get serious. How do we get more money here?
Right. And the guy's in a piece in Vanity Fair, which wouldn't have even happened a year ago, by the way. I mean, he has become a true celebrity in every sense of the word. And even the piece says some people recognize him only from SNL. And then they're like, oh, yeah, wait, I forgot you play football, too. So he's become a household name. For multiple reasons, but yeah, the whole thing is silly. Nuance does not equal clicks, and unfortunately that drives a lot of what's out there today. But yeah, the whole piece is worth reading.
Yeah, it's great.
Kelce just comes out great in the whole thing. I thought it was great. The resulting hit pieces or whatever you want to call them are as trashy as we're saying that they are, But yeah, ultimately he says, I love my situation.
Yeah.
And he knows it, and we all know it too. And if other people want to ignore that, that's fine.
Well, it's also, and also I do love that if people know him only from SNL, like, do they call him Sucre Wolodarski? Like, I want them to just call him by that name. Oh, Sucre Wolodarski, SUCREWALODarski. But he says, the free market looks fun until you go somewhere and you don't win. I love winning. I love the situation I'm in. It actually reads, and those that have, been around and covered Travis Kelce and watched him throughout his career and the maturity that, he's gained and turning into, not just a very big and old child to, what seems to be a responsible adult. But it reads, Matt, as no, I'm okay with taking less money. People are telling me that, I'm underpaid, and they're talking about, well, go ask the Chiefs for more money. Yeah, Tyreek Hill, he got that much money. That's, 2 or 3 times what I'm getting. That all sounds great. It looks cool in the free market. But not if you're not winning. I love the situation I'm in, and I love winning. That's a guy that's ultimately saying, look, this is the thought process about somebody that is being said about that you're underpaid. Okay, acknowledged that is going on. But here's why it's not an issue for me because of the situation I'm in.
Yeah. Look, if someone wanted to put together some kind of commentary on this and try to read between the lines and say something that Travis didn't actually say, you'd probably get closer to the truth by saying, was he saying what Tyreek would never say, which is, hey, I played for years with this guy. This guy goes to South Beach for twice as much money as I'll ever make in a year, per year, and yet, he's not having a championship ring ceremony like I am, and he's not celebrating in mid-February like I am, or having a parade like I am. And I've actually talked to him off the record because we played together so long, and he's not happy. And that, Tyreek's never going to say, I made the wrong move. And, of course, he's got enough money that no one should feel bad. No one should feel bad for anyone here, really. But I'm saying, if you're going to stretch it and try to read between the lines, at least come up with something of substance of, hey, was he referencing Tyreek? Because he brought up Tyreek and then said, in a straw man kind of way, I know people who left for more money and are unhappy. Well, he just brought up Tyreek. Is that who he's talking about? That could be a stretch. Yeah. And then write the commentary. But to set Kelsey up as a, demanding more money, unhappy with what he's paid, not liking his situation, that's just irresponsible.
Yeah, I thought about that too with the Tyreek Hill, including him when saying, what Tyreek got. And when you look at the free market, it looks like fun until you go somewhere and you don't win. Maybe that is directly talking about Tyreek Hill. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's just in general of, I can go to a team that's going to pay me the most money. But is that team going to be in the position I'm in with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and, the defending Super Bowl champions, et cetera? And it also coincides a little bit with when Andy Reid was asked about Tyreek Hill, and he said, well, Tyreek is happy. He got what he wanted. He got the money and a lot of yards. And that's, and he stopped there. So Andy Reid was essentially saying like what he felt like, Tyreek got what he wanted. He got money and he got a lot of yards and receptions. So cool. Good for him. We got Super Bowls,
Good for everyone involved.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. The Super Bowl's happening in Kansas City. He got what he wanted. It's all good, man. Visiting with Matt Connor, Arrowhead Addict. So Kelsey is the playmaker, the difference maker on offense outside of Patrick Mahomes. When we talk about skill position players and we talk about guys that, wide receiver group and whether the Chiefs have somebody or a group that's good enough to compete at the highest level, they won a Super Bowl with roughly the same group. But still, the Patriots extend Devontae Parker and give him essentially the same contract kind of that they gave Juju Smith-Schuster. I would guess that means the Patriots are out on DeAndre Hopkins. Nothing's going to happen before Chris Jones is ultimately done. But as we get closer and closer, do you get more, less, sort of in the middle of the confidence or even want of DeAndre Hopkins in KC?
Yeah, boy, that's a great question. I'm up for it at a certain price, and I think most people probably live there. We were even talking this morning, some of our writers at Arrowhead Addict, and kind of bantering about saying, one of the ways we can think about this wide receiver position is that there's a first-round pick from 2020, a second-round pick from 21, and a second-round pick from 22 alongside MVS. And looking from that angle, you just think, how much more do you need there? There's a significant investment there of very recent draft picks, high-round draft picks, who all need space to then grow. And so, bringing in someone like DeAndre, which may not even be needed, and then that's going to take money, that's going to take, roster spot, whatever. I think I'm bullish more on what Hopkins still has to bring. The guy was very productive in 9 games last year, averaged more yards per game last year for the Cardinals, and their abysmal situation. than even Kelsey did per game yards-wise. So, anyone who said, hey, when he played he was washed up or he's always injured, but part of that was a suspension. It wasn't, injury. I know he's getting older. I would like to see him here, maybe just to chase a ring as a one-year wonder. But I'm also not looking at this room going, oh my gosh, where's the playmakers? I think they're going to be just fine. And it looks like Hopkins is waiting around for at least one of the contenders to go, yeah, let's pony up.
Yeah, which can be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. If it's it could be a good thing, somebody gets injured and they want to pay the money. It could be a bad thing if somebody that a team wasn't planning on all of a sudden presents themselves and it's like, oh, I guess we don't need DeAndre Hopkins now if we've got who's this Victor Cruz fella? Because I didn't expect him to come out of nowhere. Matt Connor's our guest from Arrowhead Addict. The question about wide receivers moving forward, and even if we're not even talking about DeAndre Hopkins, of just like a player of that caliber or more known or a more expensive player at that position, we got into conversation yesterday, Matt, that Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports had his top 25 players age 25 and under. And it was awesome to see Creed Humphrey on there at number 11. So it wasn't just a cursory, we're going to put a center there. They deserve respect too. Like, he put him at number 11, not at number 25. So that was cool to see. But 9 of the 25 players were wide receivers, and 3 more honorable mentions were wide receivers, and 2 other players that were quote unquote just a little too old were wide receivers. And the conversation we got into yesterday, Matt, was, is there going to be a bubble maybe one day for the wide receivers, that if so many different players, as talented as they are being are starting to saturate the NFL and the wide receiver market, is it better to zig and go, here are the 5 or 6 depth positions at the wide receiver, rather than here's our stud and kind of everybody else? And the Chiefs have done both. They've won a Super Bowl, looking at it both ways. But if they go into this year, Matt, and let's say Hopkins isn't on the team, they go into the season with the group they have, and they compete, or, would be amazing, they win another Super Bowl. Do you think that Brett Veach's strategy then changes from, they wanted to pay Tyreek Hill, and then after that, they were trying to trade for A.J. Brown? Like, he was trying to get that high-end receiver. Does that change in your mind, do you think? Or we're going to move forward with depth over high-end while Kelsey is still here, and after Kelsey, we'll figure out what the strategy might be then?
I think if you ever have a team that wins 2 Super Bowls in a row, I think there's enough idiocy around the NFL to just simply try to mimic and copy what that team does. We saw that forever as one Patriots, one assistant coach from the Patriots after another was chased for, a solid decade, mostly to miserable results because they just wanted to at least pluck a fruit from that tree. And so, it'll look like Veach has done some Moneyball kind of thing with the wide receiver group, but you are right. I mean, it's not like they haven't tried to get the guy. And it's not like the Chiefs have distanced themselves from even the Hopkins rumors. It takes one quote from Andy going, look, I don't know what some guy's smoking, but that's his agent, and leave us out.
I would love for him to say that, by the way. If I don't know what that guy's smoking, it'd be great.
That would be amazing, right? But but that's, that hasn't happened. And you got to think, with that much smoke, with the Chiefs and every single conversation around Hopkins, every one of the rumors has always included in some ways the Chiefs. And the odds coming out of Vegas, whenever they're updated, always include the Chiefs near or at the very top. So there just seems to be enough there to, insinuate that the Chiefs have a hard offer on the table. Take it or leave it. We don't have to have it. We'll win without you, but you are definitely welcome here. And like you said, last year, A.J. Brown, et cetera. So, I don't know that I believe that Brett Veach has suddenly gone, don't need it, because Mahomes just makes everyone that much better. I mean, he does make everyone that much better, but it is easier when you have your top guy. And I think the Chiefs would welcome having a top guy. And I think the Chiefs have made an investment now in 3 guys, hoping one of them can be that sort of target. And you got to give them room to grow.
And I wonder, too, like, part of that conversation, and we'll find out moving forward, is if they go down the route of drafting other guys, like maybe they spend a first-round draft pick on a wide receiver, or, maybe trying to do that this year. But, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Rashee Rice, if one of those guys, rises to the top and it's like, okay, Kadarius Toney has now become a premier player in the NFL. Do they give a wide receiver a second contract that 25 to 30, wherever the market might be at that time, $25, $30 million per year? Or do they say, no, there's enough really good players out there, and especially coming into the NFL every year, we're going to go and draft the next one, find the next one. We're not going to be in the business of a $30 million wide receiver where, some are in the business of a $20 million Christian Kirk. And wherever the market ends up going with Jamar Chase and Jefferson and some of these other players that are going to get even more money and continue to balloon that, I do wonder if Brett Veach gets into a position of, now we're going to look at wide receiver sort of the same way of running back. No second contracts, and they're not necessarily interchangeable, and anybody can do that, but maybe because there's so many more talented players at that position than there ever was, it almost deflates the market if, the supply and demand is not the way that it used to be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know that I don't know that they need to pony up for that. And look, even if the Chiefs find themselves like, okay, you know what, our room is lacking, because there are questions.
Yeah, for sure.
Can the young guys play?
Mm-hmm.
Can the second-year players grow? Can Tony stay healthy? Like those are legitimate questions. But you have 8 or 9 games to figure that out before the NFL trade deadline. I mean, at that point, the Buccaneers are probably falling off, so they're dealing Mike Evans. At that point, the Colts probably fall off, so they're probably dealing Michael Pittman. The Falcons are probably falling off, so they're dealing Kyle Pitts. You're going to have a number of, if the Washington Commanders don't go anywhere with Sam Howell, you got a couple guys there, a McLaurin or whoever else they want to deal if they're up for it. I mean, you hope the best for Eric Bieniemy out there, but also, if everything falls on the quarterback, that's not a good situation. So I just think there are a number of guys who could be available at midseason for a much lower price to come in, be that guy. And the Chiefs are always going to be in that winning position of, hey, we set the price and come and win with us for less or don't. And, that's what Juju did last year, and we'll probably see a number of those kinds of players over the next decade.
Yeah, the advantage that the Chiefs have, that Brett Veach has, is number 15, in that you don't have to get into panic mode and say, well, we do it now, or these guys are going to age out and we've missed our window. So we're going to sacrifice 24, 25, and 26 to go and win this year, and hopefully it works out. Now you got number 15, and so you don't have to panic. You don't have to push all of your chips into the table. You could essentially call whatever, hey, this is our offer. Okay, cool. Sorry, we're moving on. We're going somewhere else. They did that with Trent Williams. They did that with Tyreek Hill. They did that with Tyrann Mathieu. They've done it with a number of players already. They proved that we'll go to a certain level, and if you want more, they obviously did it with Orlando Brown. You want more, that's fine. Go get it somewhere else. This is your value. This is what we're willing to pay you. You want more, good luck, best of luck. Appreciate your time here with the Chiefs. We'll find somebody else to fill that role. It's definitely the driver's seat, the catbird position when you've got number 15 back there to help you out. Matt Connor, Arrowhead Addict, is our guest. Well, on that note, after Patrick Mahomes, if you're looking at this team, and offense and defense, whatever it is, after Patrick Mahomes, what area of the team are you most confident in? Like, we talk about questions with the wide receivers and maybe even the tackles and what they look like. What area of the team are you most confident in as they are, 19 days away from training camp?
Yeah, boy, I feel like either the interior offensive line certainly looks like maybe the league's best, maybe behind the Browns, maybe a couple others there, but certainly a top 3 to 5 unit, and that's conservative. But the other one I think I'd want to touch on is actually a surprise, because it was the place where we were all complaining for years, which is linebacker. Okay, can you remember the last time the Chiefs had this depth at linebacker?
No.
I feel like I've always wanted to shield my eyes from the second level of the defense, just out of habit. It was like Anthony Hitchens was your ceiling, and then this precipitous drop after that. But Veach even said, hey, we didn't think that a guy like Drew Tranquill was going to be there, but here we are 2 weeks in after free agency starts and he's there and the price tag is good and we're looking at each other like, how do we not do this? So they rearranged their plans and like whatever those were going to be, and now we have Tranquil. And I just think at this point you have, so many guys in that second level who can do multiple things well. They're all young. Most of them are still in their first contract, growing into something. We don't even know what Chenal is going to be. Nick Bolton's on the verge of his first Pro Bowl and becoming a household name for NFL fans. Willie Gay Jr.'s in a contract year. Never bet against that, right? So, he's going to be competing against Tranquil for some of those great reps. And I'm just looking at that, just thinking, when has Spags ever had flexibility, versatility, the overall ability in that second level? And I just think that makes a mountain of a difference here, especially as the secondary gets better, and yeah, I to me, I'm looking at linebackers and just thinking, I don't know how they got here this good, but I'm loving it.
Yeah. The one of the things that I pointed out a number of times is going from the Super Bowl loss season and the linebackers the Chiefs had on that team to then a couple of years later and the improved performance and the saved money. So the Anthony Hitchens, Damian Wilson, O'Daniel, Ben Neiman group was a total of $21 million against the cap that year, the year that they ended up losing to the Bucs. The Bolton, Gay, Tranquil, Chanel is 7.5. They've saved $13 million while improving that much over the course of a couple of seasons. I mean, that's
crazy.
That's how you stay consistent, and you can pay Mahomes some money, and you're not paying Anthony Hitchens and Damian Wilson a combined $18.1 million against the cap. You're paying Bolton and Gay a combined $3.3 million against the cap, and Drew Tranquil you gave $3 million to. Like it is. There are a number of things that Brett Veach has done, but that's one of the more impressive things that he's figured out. Spent a couple of second rounders on that, so the price wasn't cheap in terms of draft capital, but you go from what they were and the issues they had paying that money to now you're talking about one of the areas you're most confident in while only spending a total of $7.5 million on those four guys.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it shows even how much better Veach has gotten at his role, right? I mean, we're seeing not only maybe the keeping of some of the draft picks, but even the utilization of those. So the quality of defenders drafted, back in 2018, you're talking Breland Speaks, you're talking Derek Nottie, who's still with the team, but Nottie's role has declined every year. Last year was the career low snap percentage. So, some of those guys are even out of the league. Glad to see Breland Speaks doing well in the USFL. Is that right? Is that where he's?
That's Player of the Week and month. Breland Speaks to you.
Right. I need to reword my
that's right.
Shows here, right? So, I'm happy for that. I'm happy for the kid for sure, but let's just also admit, Brett Veach kind of whiffed on several things. I mean, he got Mahomes right, and that's the big one to get right. And then there was some early mistakes, but those are definitely behind him, and he deserves kudos for learning as he has because the moves have paid off.
Yeah, and I think one more, and we'll let you go. But just a part of that is, Derek Nottie, he traded up to get him in the third round. Keandre Coburn, he took in the sixth. And you kind of feel like, is Coburn going to take Nottie's role? I mean, I think that's also sort of the progression of him as a GM, that I'm trading up for Speaks, I'm trading up to get Derek Nottie, and now somebody that, is the expectation, and quite frankly, let's admit the hope that Coburn takes over for Derek Nottie this year, because that would be good for the Chiefs. It means that he's outplaying Nottie, and you got him for 4 years, but you got him in the sixth round as opposed to the third. Yeah. That's a huge difference in what this team could be. Matt Connor, Arrowhead Addict, joining us. Matt, you're the man. Really appreciate the time, sir. Love the podcast and checking out the website as well. So thank you for joining us today, man. We'll talk soon. And look, man, less than 3 weeks until the rookies report to St. Joe. So, I mean, it was June 10th. June 10th doesn't seem that far away. That's how long ago it was as to how close it is to going to training camp. If I worded that anywhere near that isn't as confusing as it sounded.
I like the Twister game there.
Yes.
Yeah, we're off and running soon. It'll be fun.
Yes, sir. Matt, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
Absolutely. There's Matt Connor, Arrowhead Addict. Go check that out. Very, very good stuff. Yeah, so the time between now and the Chiefs reporting to camp is the time between now and June 10th. So essentially the week of the U.S. Open getting started, getting rolling, Doesn't seem that long ago. I mean, Josh has been back from Europe since then. I mean, and he was gone in Europe for 2 years. I mean, he's back from Europe in that time now.
Yeah, the length of time that I was in Europe is the same length of time that the Royals have been working on getting a stadium figured out. So it's a lot of sort of.
How long were you in Europe? How many days were you in Europe officially?
13, I think. Maybe 14.
Does that include
on the travel day?
Okay, so I want you to include from the second you took off in Kansas City to landing back in Kansas City. How many days was that?
I'll have to calculate the exact hours for you.
I don't care about hours.
Our flight was on the 22nd, and our flight back was on the 4th.
Okay.
So I'm not great at math, Jason. We've been over this.
Yeah. So essentially, your trip to Europe plus 5 days is how long
14,
we are.
14 days.
So plus 5 days is when rookies report to St. Joe for the Chiefs.
Cool.
See?
Well, I'll go ahead and fly out of St. Joe, maybe hit London first, and
There you go.
I'll be back in time for the rookies.
Nope, I call dibs this time. You got the Europe trip last time. Soren's getting it now. I call next. I call next.
If you insist. Can I still go to St. Joe, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
It's always
Paris of the Plains.
Damn it. I was going to go that route. All right, well, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Some news in the NFL. The NFL has suspended 4 players for gambling violations. None of them Chiefs players, but 4 more players suspended for gambling violations. We'll take a timeout. We can get into that. And also a little bit more about Sucre Wolodarski and his story in Vanity Fair and post-career and salary and out-of-context headlines. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco and Drake coming up at 1 o'clock. We got some sports or leisure. Josh Brisco is hanging out at the Charlie Hustle warehouse with the sale going on today and today only until 6 o'clock. He is hanging out at the Abbott 19th and Cherry that is in downtown. Josh, what's going on there? And then we'll tell everybody about the newest saga in the NFL and scandal around gambling.
No scandal here. I just did a little lap of my own, and very much looking forward to this show getting over. This dumb show we got to do, because I would very much like to be shopping the selection here at the Charlie Hustle warehouse sale. As you said, it's here at the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. That's 1901 Cherry Street here in KC Mo. Open at 9 o'clock today. They've been restocking as the day has gone on, so you're going, I'm not going to be able to get there till after work. Don't worry about it. They're going to be here till 6, and I imagine you're going to have a good selection. If you're out and about now, though, get on over here, and you can say hi to me and Dylan hanging out until 2, but it'll be open till 6, and the prices here are completely outrageous for Charlie Hustle gear, because it's always worth the price you're used to paying. Well, today, go ahead and bring those numbers way down. $1 accessories, $8 youth items, $12 t-shirts, $15 long sleeve shirts, $25 fleeces, which includes the hoodies and the crew neck sweaters and the sweatpants. Maybe I think the two most comfortable hoodies I own are both Charlie Hustle Chiefs Super Bowl adjacent ones. They have some of those here as well. You can bundle and save even more. So it's an incredible deal if you want to add some more Charlie Hustle to your wardrobe, and why wouldn't you? Plus, there's some Sandlot hats over on the counter I saw that I didn't even notice earlier. So there's tremendous stuff from all angles here. The Charlie Hustle warehouse sale at the Abbott at 19th and Cherry.
So let's talk about the issues in the NFL now. The NFL has suspended 4 players for gambling violations. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Indianapolis Colts. Free agent Demetrius Taylor. I don't think he's going to get a job being a free agent and now suspended. And then Nicholas Petit-Frere, NPF, is the Tennessee Titans offensive tackle. He won the starting right tackle job last year as a third-round draft pick in the 2022 draft. The 3 players I mentioned first, Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Colts, and Demetrius Taylor, are being suspended indefinitely through at least the 2023 season for placing bets on NFL games last season, while the Tennessee Titans offensive tackle is suspended 6 games because he placed a wager on non-NFL games while at the Titans facility. It is legal in Tennessee. Sports wagering is. The details of this for Isaiah Rodgers, and also should point out the Colts have waived both Rodgers and Berry. They've both been waived as a consequence of the suspensions. Demetrius Taylor, I'm assuming, is not going to get a job being suspended for a year. Here's what Isaiah Rodgers did. Did you see the details on Isaiah Rodgers and his involvement in this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so sources familiar with the activity on the online sportsbook account used by Isaiah Rodgers told ESPN's David Purdom that upwards of 100 bets were placed, including at least one wager on a game involving the Colts. A source told ESPN friends of Rodgers who were in Florida encouraged him to place many of the wagers, the majority of which were in the $25 to $50 range. The largest wager placed on the account was a $1,000 prop bet on the over-under on rushing yards by Jonathan Taylor, a Colts running back, which won. So in a game that the Colts were playing, Isaiah Rodgers placed a $1,000 prop bet on an over-under rushing yards by the Colts running back that day, in which he ended up winning that particular bet. So not only was Isaiah Rodgers betting on NFL games, he was betting on at least one NFL game that he was participating in that his team was playing in. Even though it was just a prop bet, I mean, that's just stupid. That's just dumb. Like there's no explanation or any further teaching and mentoring from anybody in the NFL or NFLPA in advising to say, hey, you shouldn't bet on NFL games. Like that's known. It bothers me when players are suspended when they're betting on non-NFL games, but they just happen to be at the facility. How explicit was that in some of the explanations and things like that? Like, how informed were they? But this dude bet on a game he was playing in, Josh. I mean, he placed a bet on a Colts game. Like, what are you doing?
To your point, I don't even know that there's an example to be made here or anything. It's like, come on, like, obvious. Hey, man. Obviously. that one you probably shouldn't need the handout for.
Is that what Roger Goodell did? He just looked in and went, huh? What are you,
like,
just hands in the air. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm looking at his Spotrac page right now, and he's made a few $100,000 each year in the league. This year, his base salary was going to be $2.7 million, Isaiah Rodgers. 2.7, and again, like, part of it where I do have some empathy for guys who are getting suspended for this, because it is universally one of two things. It's either really stupid or stupid but kind of not completely their fault in ways that we've talked about.
Might just
in terms
be
of
ignorant.
Like, hey, how informed are you? Exactly, right. This one is so, and again, so the part of me that feels empathy for Isaiah Rodgers right now is that there's no way he thought, nah, I'm gonna make a couple $100,000 betting here. I'm never gonna get caught. I'm really gonna supplement my income. Like, it's just a thing to do, which is why I think that the NFL is in a pretty tight spot here, because first of all, the current CBA runs through 2020 or 2030, I think. So, like, legit Chiefs-Royals lease timeline stuff. I think before the CBA, the NFL is going to have some sort of rule where the suspensions at least become less severe for the betting from a team facility, because it's just so convoluted, and guys universally seem like, oh yeah, I just wasn't totally clear on that. But the stuff like this one with Isaiah Rodgers is frustrating because there's no good reason other than just like, oh, that seemed entertaining, which I guess is the reason that a lot of us do it. But there's no consequences beyond my lost $5 if I'm at work and I place a $5 bet on Devin Booker to win MVP. Like, I just, I know no one's gonna yell at me for that or suspend me for a year. So,
well, being dumb by putting money on Devin Booker to win MVP, yes, you might be suspended around here.
Well, that's, and that's, I will be willing to take that one all the way up the appeals court if it's Roger Goodell or a neutral arbitrator or whatever. Yeah. But, man, it's just, it is, the NFL can never throttle back on don't bet on NFL games. There's too much crossover, and obviously, these guys will know each other and stuff. Your team, other team, doesn't matter. Don't bet on NFL games. But I'm pretty over the 6-game suspensions because maybe you bet on a baseball game in your locker room. That doesn't mean anything to me at this point. The NFL is too in bed with gambling to be that puritanical.
Yeah. Isaiah Rodgers has made $2.5 million in his career. He was set to make $2.7 this year. So he was going to double his career earnings this year. There's also a local connection with this, not involved in the gambling, but Isaiah Rodgers was supposed to be a bigger part of the Colts defense because they lost Stephon Gilmore to the Dallas Cowboys. So Isaiah Rodgers was going to fill that role. He is no longer there. Well, that means second-round pick Julius Brents from Kansas State is now the man.
Oh,
so
sure is.
Guess what, Julius Brents? It's time to step into that role. You know what? The Chiefs had 3 different cornerbacks have to fill a role like that last year, and they proved that they could do it. So Isaiah Rodgers and Stephon Gilmore both out from the Colts a year ago. Julius Brents, second-round pick, is in. So there's the sort of local connection that's there. I wanted to also read this, and we'll take a break, of the offensive lineman for the Tennessee Titans. He sent a statement to Adam Schefter saying that the betting I engaged in was not NFL-related and was legal under Tennessee law. It is only being sanctioned because it occurred at the Titans facility. I want to apologize to my family, coaches, teammates, Titans fans. I've always strived in every stage of my life to follow the rules. I did not knowingly break the rules. Even after attending a league presentation, I was unaware about the specifics around placing bets from a team facility. I will do everything in my power to help the team during training camp and will be prepared when I return to the roster during the season. That's another blow to the Tennessee Titans offensive line. That guy was the starting right tackle. The Titans are standing by him, not waving him, saying that we believe in Nick and know that he has deep respect for the integrity of the game and organization. We now continue to emphasize to our players the importance of understanding and adhering to league rules and policies. He falls in line with a lot of the players that have been suspended for gambling that were just simply, I think, ignorant to not being allowed to place wagers from team facilities or a team trip or a team hotel in a different state, things like that. But I would say there is a great understanding of that now amongst NFL players when you're seeing the money that is lost by some of these suspensions. So I would say this year there's no reason for NFL players to not know what the consequences are going to be of that. So we'll see what happens moving forward with those things. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We got Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810.
WH10 WHB. We talked a little bit with Matt Connor about the Vanity Fair piece that Travis Kelce was featured, and it's really good. I would suggest if you haven't read that, go check that out. It is worth the time. They get into a lot of different things with Travis Kelce, going back to the suspension in college at Cincinnati and how that whole thing came about. I did think it was funny when he said, they're down at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans in 2009 after going undefeated, and Travis Kelce said that, I'm down on Bourbon Street, and I was down in New Orleans listening to Lil Wayne, and I wanted to smoke what he was smoking. And then the night before the game, they were summoned, the team was summoned for an NCAA drug test, and he said, I'm sitting there dead in the water. I just wanted to get out of there. I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to look at anybody. So how about that? If you've been in New Orleans hanging out, and then they say, hey, we got a drug test the day before the game, you're like, I don't even need to take the drug test. All right, I know what it's going to say. All right. But obviously the thing that's getting talked about a lot, Josh, is the contract and the salary, and it's being taken out of context. What did you make of what Kelce had to say and the way that he phrased it, and maybe ultimately the meaning versus what we know some are trying to spin it to be?
It seems so obvious when you just read it.
Huh?
Like you just
really?
All you gotta do here, folks, is just read like the entire paragraph, not the entire story. The whole story is good; it's worth your time. You don't need to get all the way through it just to really get that paragraph that makes you go, oh yeah. So he's not an idiot. He does understand that he should probably be making more than a third of what Tyreek Hill is making. And he is a man between worlds as a tight end who performs like an elite wide receiver who merely gets paid like a very, very good tight end. This is all the most obvious bleep in the world. And it certainly isn't sour grapes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not here comes a holdout, because why read the story when you can read a headline, and then checking out the quote tweets of said disingenuous headline was great. Just seeing the reaction from a lot of people that didn't read the story and didn't read the quotes, that just took the disingenuous headline and was like, uh-oh, there are issues in Kansas City. Well, they got
trouble in paradise.
They've got cap issues, and now Kelsey wants more. Is he going to hold out? Yeah, they win a Super Bowl. Now you got to pay some people. What happens now when, you leave out the time or leave out the part when he's saying that I love the situation I'm in. I love winning. The free market looks fun until you go somewhere and you don't win. That, yeah, I mean, also the part of like, well, he wants a higher salary. Like, this is what I got annoyed with Douche Kleiman or whatever his name is.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's his name. Not sure. I'm just going to take other people's stories and then repackage them and put them on a website for the bros out there.
In a way worse way, though. Like,
yes,
I'm gonna make it significantly worse and more confusing
for
on purpose.
Religious bros. That's what I'm going to do. But he says, well, clearly he wanted a higher salary. He talks about the money. It says, quote, my managers and agents love to tell me how underpaid I am. Anytime I talk about wanting more money, they're just like, why don't you go to the Chiefs and ask them? And it seems pretty straightforward and self-explanatory, Josh, that if Kelsey is talking to his agents about wanting more money and the agents then tell him to ask the Chiefs, it clearly means he's not asking his agents for more money from the Chiefs.
Right.
That is so easy to get. It is such an easy concept to understand. If he says, I want a higher salary, agents, they wouldn't go, well, go talk to the Chiefs. They'd go, cool, we're going to go talk to the Chiefs. But this conversation being recreated, I can very easily see he's sitting down with agents and managers and talking about where streams of income can come from. And, hey, we need a little more money here. And they're like, well, why don't you go talk to the Chiefs? You're underpaid. Yeah, again, that's not happening. Where are we getting money elsewhere? Other streams of revenue. When the Vanity Fair, piece, they're talking about the different things that he's shooting commercials for, that he's doing all of these different things, that there are multiple streams of revenue, and more money isn't mutually exclusive to NFL salary, which is a hard concept to get.
Yeah, apparently it's bleeping rocket science. And we've had, varying versions of like the value of your salary versus your situation and all of that. And like, you can make it about life away from sports. You can go NFL specific. You make it specific to Kelsey, whatever. But if the Chiefs did not win the Super Bowl, if they were not two-time champions, Travis Kelce doesn't host SNL, which is apparently like the one off-the-field thing that he's always had wanted to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not winning and you're not one of the faces of an organization that is building the current most impressive dynasty in the sport post New England Patriots, you don't get the things that come with that. Not only if you're a tight end for the Lions or whatever, but if you're with the Bengals or Bills, any team that hasn't been literally like the main character of these last 5 years of the NFL, like, and there is a financial use from that. I am never going to sit here and tell you that players take hometown discounts just to help the team and all of that, because I think generally speaking, you're a player with a short career, get your money.
Yep.
But in very specific high-ranking instances, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, maybe Chris Jones, but no further than that for the Chiefs. There are worlds when it would make sense to say, no, I'm not going to go ask Brett Veach for a few extra $1 million because this relationship right now is really good. I'm doing great off the field, and another Super Bowl would be really sweet and probably make me some more money in the long haul as well. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are two of very few guys, maybe single-digit guys in football, who should be willing to say, no, I'm seeing my money come together off the field also, and I'm going to make sure I don't rock that boat.
Yeah, there were a number of different segments of this Vanity Fair piece, and part of it was post-playing career. And exactly, it's a great point you bring up that he's not hosting SNL if the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl. So if he's getting paid crazy $30 million a year to play for the Lions, he's not hosting Saturday Night Live. But, he got, the hosting of Saturday Night Live because they won the Super Bowl, and he's become just this star now. And so post-playing career, he talked about, the next act in entertainment since the end of the league, or as he puts it, getting his, quote, face out from under the helmet, is what he's talking to his agents and his managers about. That this little nugget about it says, Kelsey told me he intends to see out his current contract with the Chiefs, which runs through 2025. So his plan at least is for 3 more seasons with the Chiefs. And then we'll see what happens then. What's his star look like? What opportunities are there post-playing career? Are there opportunities on the big screen, the small screen, opportunities in broadcasting? What's there as opposed to, am I ready to look myself in the mirror and say, I'm never going to play football again? Am I ready at this point in my life to do that? It's one thing to say, look, I intend to play out these next 3 years, and then I'll figure it out after that. To then say, I've played these 3 years, and now I'm never going to put on the uniform again. It's a difficult decision to have. But he's going to kill it once his career is over anyway.
Yeah, and Jason Witten, a tight end who is not good on TV, apparently, I just looked it up, that deal was reportedly worth about $4 million per year. Travis Kelce will make plenty of money post-playing career, and I think you're actually hitting on a more interesting point than just the money now, which is what he does next will hopefully for him be something creative and fulfilling and interesting, will continue to raise his star.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet he's got a few good years of football left before he kicks off many good years on a screen somewhere.
I would be surprised if February whatever of 2026, see what I did there, is the last game of Kelsey's career. I would be surprised by that, but we'll see. I'm not surprised by sports or leisure. That's coming up next. 913-3810810. Load 'em up, sports or leisure, right after this.
Sporting KC are back.
All right, welcome back here in the zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, and Drake. We head up until 2 o'clock. One more hour to go on this Thursday edition of the show. We're playing some sports or leisure. Load them up. 913-3-810-810 is the phone number to play. 913-3-810-810 to play. Josh, let the fine folks out there know what you are doing, where you're at, and why.
We have a perfect combination of sports and leisure here at the Charlie Hustle Warehouse sale. We're at the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. It's the Abbott, 1901 Cherry Street here in KCMO. It's a beautiful venue as well. But you're not necessarily here for the venue today. You can look at the chandeliers for free. They're just hanging. But you should be here for this incredible once-a-year deal that Charlie Hustle does with their warehouse sale. But this is the biggest one they've ever done. 3 times more fan-favorite gear than ever before. It's today only. They opened at 9. They've been adding more to these tables all morning that we've been out here. They're going to be open until 6. We'll be here till the end of the show, and then I'm going to start shopping. But there's incredible savings, incredible prices. $25 fleeces, that's the hoodies and the crew necks and the sweatpants. $12 T-shirts, you can get 10 for $100 if you'd like. Plus outside they got food trucks, they got music and entertainment around the area. It's a family-friendly event, and you can get incredible gear for everyone from the kids' sizes all the way up to triple XL. So I've seen those and everything in between here again. Charlie Hustle's warehouse sale at the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. We're also, Jason, somebody walked by earlier. I did not catch his name, and for that I apologize. But he said, "Are we doing sports or leisure today?" And I said, "Oh, you better believe we're doing sports or leisure today." So I think, you know what? I think if you're listening right now and you make it in here, we can just give you a headset and let you play sports or leisure in person. I don't know. That's a dangerous game. I'm not sure I'm willing to offer that. You can unless you're Avery, and then you definitely can't.
Some would say the most dangerous game.
I think it is the most dangerous. No one will hunt you for sport. You're just going to look great in some great gear out here.
That you know of.
I will not hunt anyone for sport.
How do you know somebody
isn't?
isn't
for myself? That's a.
How do you know somebody isn't hiding out at the Abbott or buying clothes to change into because they are being hunted for sport?
I'll tell you what, there's that, this is just baked into my brain forever because of the age I was when it came out, but that's a big part in the original National Treasure movie. They got to go and have a whole new wardrobe and everything. I genuinely could not think of a better place or time to need an emergency change of clothes than to just be, oh man, I'm just right out here outside the Abbott, and God, I could really use some new sweats and a T-shirt and maybe a hoodie while we're at it, but I only got $50 to work with. Hey, good news. Welcome. You're home now.
I didn't know you were a National Treasure stan.
Oh, dude, that movie, I watched it so many times.
I love that movie.
Second one was a little disappointing, but the original, oh, yes, sir.
That's pretty much, that's almost universal of somebody saying that. Second one was a little disappointing. First one was awesome. Second one, how are you going to match what you did in the first one? It's tough to do.
I'm
there
very
are
conflicted about the Disney Plus show, by the way. There's no Nick Cage.
What's the point then?
What's the point, right?
Yeah.
Like if it gets kids, you're getting kids into one of Nick Cage's most iconic franchises, as I like to think of it. That's good, I guess. But is it that hard to get Nick Cage to agree to a project right now? There's a whole video game expansion pack that is just called Nick Cage. It's Dead by Daylight Nicolas Cage.
Well,
we couldn't get him on Disney Plus. Disney doesn't have Nick Cage money.
Well, here's the thing with Nick Cage and maybe throw in Keanu Reeves. Eventually, they're going to have to be a part of the Fast and Furious series. So many different people have. Jason Momoa, John Cena, The Rock. Like, we've seen these big-time actors and stars and action, type figures that have joined the Fast and Furious franchise that. How is Keanu Reeves or Nicolas Cage not a part of this in some way, shape, or form already?
I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie, and I'm in 3 of them.
Jason, you also almost just did something incredibly funny without having any idea why it would have been so funny. I just during the break, I just swapped out the movie section of Sports or Leisure because I only had 2 questions remaining, and one was about Wes Anderson, who we've been talking about all week, and the other was... Name 4 actors who appear in Fast 10.
My bad.
No. It was you would have been going the Johnnies.
Oh, but here's the thing, though. You could have just guessed actors because everybody in the franchise is in Fast 10.
If you would have confidently said that Keanu Reeves was in it, I would have just let you have it. I would have been, yeah, of course. I'm sure he was. I haven't seen it.
Honestly, I think, I'm pretty sure I read this somewhere. I don't know. Somebody might have said it to me. Reading, it's difficult. But the one little part, and spoiler alert, The Rock shows up in Fast 10. Oh, my goodness.
What?
But The Rock, in the 45 seconds he's on screen, that then says, "You some bitch." Sorry, Drake, if I wasn't supposed to say that. I already did. I think he got like $3.5 million for that. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Like, the cost of making Fast 10 was like $500 million. I might be exaggerating on that, but it was something.
I'm looking for it right now.
It was something completely absurd because they brought everybody back. Everybody was a part of it in some way, shape, or form. So
this is why Travis Kelce doesn't need to worry about being as highly paid as Tyreek Hill or whatever.
Well, Tech says Kelce's the star of Fast 15. Yep, I can see that.
He. Oh man, can you imagine? Like we get him and Nick Cage together, like the Nick Cage Pedro Pascal movie that I still haven't seen, but that one GIF is from. What would I not pay for a movie just starring Nick Cage and Travis Kelce just kind of bleeping around for 2 hours?
So I will say I've watched every single one of the Fast and Furious movies.
Have you really?
Yeah, I know what I'm getting when I go into it. I like them. I know what I'm getting. I'm getting absurdity. I'm getting the completely surrendering any thought of a part of this being something that could actually happen.
No, you could have ended that sentence a few words earlier. You're surrendering any thought.
Sorry. Tex says Lucas Black in it. Yes, Lucas Black is from Tokyo Drift. Lucas Black is also in it. Seriously, any actor, Paul Walker's in it. He's dead.
That seems unlikely, right? Okay. Is he actually in it somehow? They have a little
they
flashback.
They do. The whole premise is
Really?
from Fast 5 or Fast 6. The entire premise of this movie is based on like a big, 15-minute portion of that movie. Regardless, here's a little bone to pick with this. So,
$340 million budget, by the way.
340. I did exaggerate with $500 million, but I think 3.5 of that may have gone to The Rock for just saying some bit. Here's a small little riddle me this, Batman. So it's Fast 10. So it's a series of movies and 11 total in the franchise when you throw in Hobbs and Shaw. So there have been 11 movies, but 10 of them with the Fast and Furious. So explain to me how Fast 10, with the cliffhanger ending it has, is technically the first of a 3-movie series. No, it's the 10th of what will be a 12-movie series. That's
actually the 11th of a 13-movie series.
That's
right?
it, right? But if you eliminate Hobbs and Shaw, which was sort of a sub movie over
which
there,
I do. That's non-canonical.
Yes. If you eliminate that, like Fast 10 is the first of a 3-movie series of these big cliffhangers to now wait 2 more years for the next one to come out. Yet it's the 10th in line of this storyline that's continued. They are not independent of themselves. I guess they could be, but they're all connected in the storyline going along, because when somebody comes back, it's like, you were dead. Oh, wait, you've been resurrected. Everybody but Paul Walker and Brian, because he never actually died in the film series.
Sounds like you got to fast 10 your seatbelts if you want to keep up with this franchise. Zing. Boom.
We'll play some Sports or Leisure. Fast and Furious is not part of this. Also, I feel like they probably made a mistake by not just saying that Paul Walker's character died in the series. Because these references about, oh, well, Brian's with the kids. Oh, well, Brian's this.
Oh, wait, sorry, time out. So this will shock you. I've not seen any Fast and Furious movies. I'm not a conscious objector or anything. I just kind of missed it. Paul Walker's character, canonically, is still alive?
Oh, yeah, he's still part of the series. He just doesn't participate anymore because he's a father. And every time Vin Diesel's sister, who is married to Brian, Paul Walker's character, shows up, Brian's with the kids. They acknowledge that Brian's alive. Oh, Brian's over here, Brian's over there. But he sounds like a terrible friend because he never shows up to any family events. Anytime there's a big gathering, he's not there anymore. He's just, as lack of a better term, he's just ghosted his friends in the franchise. It's like they've painted themselves into such a corner now that they can't just say he passed away. Like every time that she shows up, she's got to mention Brian. Oh, well, you know what? He's hanging out with his Uncle Brian.
I am completely shocked by this. Mouth agape. I cannot believe. I thought the whole see you again sequence was also somehow acknowledging that Brian wasn't around anymore.
No. He's still alive in the series, in the franchise, which is great.
What a fascinating, no pun intended, what a fascinating character choice.
Yeah, the ironic part is that there's so many people in the movie series that they've actually killed off that have somehow come back. Somehow oh, no, that was a fake death. They played it off really well. But the one person they haven't killed off has actually died in real life.
I certainly hope I never get a text from you that's like, hey, can't do the show today. I'm with the kids. I'll start getting very nervous about your actual health.
913-912-4810 is the text line.
Literally day today is the new
913
is the new with the kids.
All right, let's get into sports or leisure. I don't know why that came up, but there's just so many things about that. I like the series. I don't care what you say. I like the series, okay? But this text says, John Sherman spending his new stadium money on payroll has a believability rating equivalent to Fast X. I like it. All right, here are the categories today on the sports side. We've got Major League Baseball, we've got some NBA draft, and then we've got stadiums. That seems to be a conversation we're having around here. We've got questions about stadiums. Could be stadium names, could be teams, could be construction, could be years, could be capacity, things like that. So Major League Baseball, NBA draft, and stadiums. What about on the leisure side, Josh?
We've got the getting artsy category, a few questions about art that I think most people should probably know. We'll see if we get there. We have the dog days, just good questions about everybody's favorite four-legged friends. We have the return of the Marvel category, MCU extending to the TV shows and all of that from former intern Dylan, who has brought that heat back. And then today's brand new category, What Could It IMDb? It's the official name.
Right, I like it.
Where I will give you the summary of a movie from IMDb, and then you're just gonna have to tell me what the movie is.
All right, let's do it. I'm ready to go. Josh, you good to go?
I'm good to go. Drake, you good to go?
Yeah, but I should point out the plural of stadium is stadia.
Stadia.
Google actually shut that down.
Stadia.
Stadia is not a thing anymore. They sunset that.
There are plural Johnny's Tavern. There's 10 of them around the area, including Lawrence and Topeka. Johnny's Tavern, $25 we are giving away to Johnny's Tavern. Let's go to Sean leading us off here on sports or leisure on this Thursday. Sean, what side do you want to start with, sports side or the leisure side, sir?
Let's go with leisure.
And which category do you like?
Let's go with that new one.
Ooh, okay. What could it IMDb? In the summer of 1962, a new kid in town is taken under the wing of a young baseball prodigy and his rowdy team, resulting in many adventures.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get it, Jason? You're there?
I got it. It's the summer of 1962. It doesn't mean it's a movie that came out in 1962.
Correct. No, this is the plot, the shortest plot synopsis on IMDb.
That's right.
In the summer of 1962,
a
new kid in town.
I can't remember the damn name. I think I know what it is, but
Come
I
on.
can't.
Let's think of it. It's going to be a quick game. I got to get home for lunch.
Young baseball prodigy. So.
Is that your sister out there in left field? Naked?
You're killing me, Sean.
I'm done. I got nothing.
You forgot to turn. You're supposed to go to third base. The shock of his first home run was just too much for him to bear. Sean, one more chance. 5 seconds. Start. Anything?
I'm out.
Sean, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's go to Avery next up on sport. Oh, great. Avery, a layup for him. It's cheating if Avery.
You guys still have that bad luck question?
No, we don't
there?
actually. We don't actually have it anymore, Avery. Sorry about that. Let's get a new question for Avery.
If you show your face out here at the Charlie Hustle Warehouse sale, I am going to throw a hoodie at you.
Hey, can I get a spoiler alert? I didn't know Paul Walker was dead.
Not in the movies. No, I wouldn't. That's no spoiler alert. No, he's still very much alive. He's just one hell of a stay-at-home dad.
I'll try Stadia.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah, explain concrete cancer in explicit detail.
Drake has already given you a win by saying
bad.
Stadia. All right, so Municipal Stadium, demolished in 1976. Give me any of the former names of Municipal Stadium in its existence here in KC.
You said all of the former names, Jason?
Give me every of the former names of. There were 3 names, 4 including municipal names that the stadium went by in its existence.
Did they ever call it like after like a team that played there? Maybe.
Yeah, I think they.
Avery, how dare you ask for clues? How dare you?
No, they did.
Okay, Was it ever called Athletic Stadium? Maybe.
Avery, it was not. It was not called.
Maybe.
Hang up on him, drink.
Avery, you're the man, sir. You'll get your $25 next week. All right, that question is out there available. I thought he was slow playing it. Was it ever named after a team that played there? Because it actually was. There was a team that played there that it was named after, but not the Athletics, who did play there, but not named Athletics Stadium. Anyway, let's go to Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Charles, sports or leisure?
Let's do some leisure.
Which category? We got art, dogs, Marvel, and the IMDb game.
Let's do the dogs.
Caesar Milan rose to prominence for being a canine controller on National Geographic for nearly a decade with what TV show?
What was the name of that show?
Was it Dr. Dog Pimple Popper?
Yeah, that's what. Jason, it would be Dr. Pimple Popper.
Popper. Damn it. It'd be also Dogter.
Dang it.
Was it Dog Whisperer?
It was the Dog Whisperer. Absolutely, it was. Good work.
You should have whispered it. All right, on to the sports side. We've got stadiums, MLB, and NBA draft.
Do that municipal stadium that Avery couldn't get for some reason.
Oh, wow. We got trash talking to
Rub his
Avery.
nose in it.
I almost said the wrong word there for a second, but trash talking is what we're going with. Give me any of the 3 names before it became municipal.
I'm going to say Mulebach Field.
That was the original name, Mulebach Field. The team that played there was the Kansas City Blues. It was called the Blues Stadium.
That's way back.
Yep, the Blues Stadium, Mulebach and Ruppert Stadium, and then became Municipal Stadium. So well done. That is a winner, Charles, and $25 to Johnny's Tavern for you. We will put you on hold and get your information. Thank you, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. There's winner number 1, and a little trash talking to Avery. I can't believe he didn't know it was Mulebach or Blues Stadium.
Love it.
Idiot.
I think
Stadium.
more tension amongst the sports or leisure players, I think, is really good for the game.
Yep. That's right.
If someone wants to buzz the tower on Avery next time I get it.
I would not have known any of these names until, researching it for the question. So if people did not know the previous names, I would not blame them. No clue.
I wouldn't blame anybody for not knowing that except for Avery.
Yes, that's right. Avery does not get a reprieve on this. Brian, next up on Sports Radio 810. Brian, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's start with Stadia. Stadia.
Stadia. Stadia. Do you want to go? Do you want to go football, baseball, arena? What are you thinking?
Let's go football.
Football for you. Okay. Which 2? I need both of them. Which 2 NFL stadiums are the only buildings older than Arrowhead?
Ooh.
There are only 2 NFL stadiums that were built before Arrowhead Stadium.
Lambeau Field?
There's one. And then the other one was actually built 30 years before Lambeau. It's the oldest of the NFL stadiums.
It's still being used.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been renovations to, every one of these stadiums. But yes, the original structure, everything.
Can you give me a conference hint? Or a division?
trying to think
Well,
of
which
something
conference came first?
Well, the NFL, the old NFL.
Yeah, that's a great hint, Josh. Without giving it away, that's good. I like that.
Making you work for it still.
Yeah.
Jeez, run through the teams.
They have more than one Super Bowl. I don't think they did. They only got one. They played in another one. A lot of rain that day, but they lost.
No.
Shuffle through your options.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Come on. We got to have some other people field the questions.
Yeah. Let's get into the Chiefs. I'm gonna say no, not the Giants.
If you don't get this right, you're just gonna have to soldier on, man.
I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to waste your time.
No.
Brian, appreciate it. We let him there, right? I mean,
yes, I think sometimes you just have a brain fart, and it's just a brain fart day.
Not only did we lead him to water, but we were then waterboarding him, trying to make sure that he was just drink, damn it.
You said the name, yeah.
Let's go to Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andrew, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's go IMDb.
Oh, okay. I just assumed that there was about to be another snarky request for the blank question.
You have that question out there?
But here's an IMDb. A thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream-sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO, but his tragic past may doom the project and lead his team to disaster.
Inception.
Nice.
Boom!
Well
Set
done.
him up, knock him down.
Yes, nice job. Inception.
I like this game.
On to the sports side, Andrew. We've got Stadia, MLB, and NBA Draft.
Yeah, can I get that Soldier Field question?
Well done.
There it is.
Yes, which two NFL stadiums are the only buildings older than Arrowhead? Lambeau Field and which one?
Soldier.
Good job. Good job. We had to bear it through that whole thing. 1924 Soldier Field was built. 1957 Lambeau. So 33 years before Lambeau. That's crazy. We will put you on hold, Andrew, and give you $25 to Johnny's Tavern. You add 8, you'll get 33. Andrew, appreciate it. Hold on, sir. We'll get you information. Let's go to...
I didn't know that Arrowhead was third. I knew there was one, too, but I
didn't know it was third until, last night doing the research on it. I would not have guessed that it was the third oldest. I was about to give away an answer to another question.
in like the top 5, right?
Yeah.
Or 6, it's up there.
There's turns out they've built a lot of new stadiums over the years in these different cities. Let's go to Justin next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Justin, sports or leisure, sir? What side would you like to start with?
Let's start with the leisure, please.
In which category?
Marvel.
Okay, let's break open the Marvel questions again here. What does S.H.I.E.L.D. stand for?
Strategic Homeland. Oh, my goodness. My 10-year-old would nail this. Where's he at when I need him? Strategic Homeland. That's it. Strategic Homeland, i.e. something, D.S. I got Black Widow right there in the movie saying it to me, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what the last letters are at all. Wow. All right. Well, that didn't last very long, gentlemen. Sorry for the
well, look,
sorry for the build-up and the horribly
here's the thing.
ending to it.
Here's the thing, Justin. You may go home and your whole family is just waiting around in a circle to talk with you.
I have a feeling there will be a severe intervention when I get home.
Yes.
There sure could be.
There sure could be. An
Thanks a lot,
intervention.
gentlemen.
Justin, thank you, sir. Damn it!
And also, man, there's nothing wrong with a really long, unuseful setup and then totally messing up the dismount. You're in the zone, man. Like, you're at home here.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back.
You did, Jason. Your hint, by the way,
You
10
liked
out
it?
of 10.
Thank you.
10 out of 10.
He even knew exactly what I was talking about. He said there's going to be
it's gonna make it even worse.
Intervention. Yes. Will there be? And what happens if there's something that is then forced to Ooh, oh, sorry. And then I don't know how you're going to get home, but you got to figure out some route to get there, maybe. All right, we'll take a time out.
Someone's going to call in and nail it, but that's going to sting for a little bit.
All right, we'll take a time out. We'll come back. We will continue rolling. Sports or leisure, we're playing $25 to Johnny's Tavern on the line. If you're on hold, stay there. We got a couple of open phone lines right now, 913-381-810. First in, first on. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810
All right, we're playing sports or leisure, $25 to Johnny's Tavern on the line. Sports or leisure. The categories, we have stadia, Major League Baseball and NBA draft on the sports side. 913-381-0810 is the phone number to play for $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Josh, go ahead and reset the categories for us on the leisure side.
We've got Getting Artsy, some questions about fine art, more or less. We've got the Dog Days, questions about dogs and some of their favorite things. We've got Marvel back in the mix, the MCU, and then the new game today, What Could It IMDb? I'll read you the IMDb description, plot synopsis of a movie. You got to tell me what the famous movie is. I'm not getting super art housey with you.
Love it.
Yeah,
They're
not this week at least.
the leisure categories. 913-381-0810. First in, first on. Josh, before we go back to playing and get to Paul, who will be leading us off in this segment, what are you doing? Where are you at? And why are you there?
I'm having a great time. I'm here because I love great clothes and great deals, and that place that I'm at is at the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. That's 1901 Cherry Street here in KC-Mo. It's the Charlie Hustle Warehouse Sale, which means they have a ton of great Charlie Hustle merch. I don't have to explain how good Charlie Hustle merch is. Everyone knows that. The quality across the board, both in like the material and the designs, everyone knows that because you've been to Kansas City before. What you might not have seen before are the prices here today. $1 accessories, $8 youth T-shirts and onesies, $12 T-shirts, $15 long sleeves, $25 fleeces. That's the hoodies, the crew necks, and the sweatpants. I've never seen them priced that low, and I love my Charlie Hustle hoodies. So I'm hoping to add to that collection today. So it goes on until 6. We'll be here until 2 or however long it takes for me to shop after 2 comes. But open till 6 here at the Abbott. One day only. Open at 9, going to 6. You can come in at 3 times more than they've ever had before in any of these sales. So the Abbott in KC-Mo. Come on through to the Charlie Hustle Warehouse Sale.
All right, 913-381-0810. Back to the phone lines we go. Paul, next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB, a little sports or leisure. Paul, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Oh, man, let's try sports. That leisure scares me.
As it does for a lot of people. What category on the sports side, sir?
Oh, we'll do the stadia.
Oh, great. Any preference on like NFL or Major League Baseball or basketball arena type thing? Any preference there? What are you thinking? Huh?
Let's stay away from basketball.
Okay, no basketball. Okay, got that written down. No basketball. What are you thinking now? The old pigskin or the stick and ball?
I don't care. I can equally miss both.
Okay, great. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's encapsulate them all. This venue is actually the oldest home for any of the 4 professional sports teams.
Ooh.
Still playing there.
Oldest home of any of them?
The oldest of any professional sport. So the oldest venue, building for hockey, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, the oldest of all of them. Not individually. I don't want individually the sports, but the oldest stadium, arena for all of the 4 sports.
Well, I got 2 guesses.
Okay.
Is one back east or one in the Midwest?
Mm-hmm. Those would be probably the 2 to go with.
Yeah.
Now I guess it's trying to figure out the flipping of the coin.
We want to have a chewing gum attached to it?
I'm not chewing gum right now. Nope.
Oh, well, then I'll have to go with Fenway Park.
Wow, Fenway Park. Yes, that's right. 1912. Fenway was built just a few years before Wrigley. So, yes, Fenway Park, 1912, the oldest out of all of. It'd be odd if there was a basketball arena that was built for, like, the Nuggets in, like, 1908 or something.
Wrigley wasn't even built for the Cubs.
It was built for...
I think the Chicago Whales of the Federal League, I think.
I thought it was built for chewing gum, so I was wrong. Leisure with, I don't know, Josh.
Now I want to know more about what Wrigley was originally built for. But in the meantime, what category would you like?
I'll find out. I'm on it.
Oh, I guess I'm not a dog person.
Chicago Whales. How about that?
How about the IMDb, and we'll shot in the door.
All right, let me take a look at what I got for you here. I was going to ask if a clarifying question. I'm not going to do this to you because it'll give it away. But here's what I can tell you. Here's your prompt. An angel is sent from heaven to help a desperately frustrated businessman by showing him what life would have been like if he had never been born.
Yeah. There you go. Come on. It's a layup, Paul. Come on.
Wow.
This is almost as old as Wrigley, or as Fenway.
Christmas time?
It could be.
The Wonderful Life?
It is a wonderful life.
Wonderful life.
It is. It is a wonderful life, and it's a wonderful trip to Johnny's Tavern that you'll be taking, Paul, with $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Paul, thank you so much. Congratulations, and way to finally get one done. Nice job.
1946 for It's a Wonderful
Absolutely.
Life.
Yep. Wife will be proud of you, Paul. Nice job. Let's go to T-Box next up on Sports Radio 810, a little sports or leisure. T-Box, what's up, man? How are you? What side do you want to start with?
Doing fantastic. I'll do sports. I'll do the Stadia.
Okay,
also.
great. All right, that one's. Do you have a preference on sport or anything like that, or just
Just so you give me the answer like you did to Paul.
Okay, very good.
Yes. Give me a football.
You know what? I'll give you a football one here. This one I actually think is kind of easy, but what is the most common name or part of a name for college football stadiums?
Valley?
No, the most common name. The most common name for football stadiums.
What seems like
Is this a trick question or am I dumb?
Both, I guess. I don't know. It's not a trick question. I know that. It's my prerogative. It's my prerogative.
I'll just go Memorial.
Hey, Memorial.
Hey,
That's
nice.
well done. Nice job. Memorial. I'm going to go ahead and read all the schools that play at a Memorial Stadium or even a name and then Memorial. New Mexico State, Cal, Texas, KU, South Carolina, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Memphis, USC, Nebraska, Illinois, Indiana, Jacksonville State, Navy, Troy, Arkansas, and Wyoming. All play at Memorial Stadiums. So there you go. That is a winner, right?
Half a winner?
Oh, yeah,
Half
that's
a winner,
right. Sorry. He got Stadia. He got Stadia.
You got the Stadia.
Yeah, he needs both. So leisure side, T-Box, my bad.
Yeah, give me. I forgot the categories, Josh.
We've got art, dogs, Marvel, and the IMDb game.
Okay, I got no idea Marvel or IMD what that is. What's IMD? I heard you ask a movie question a second ago.
IMDb is just it's the International Movie Database. I'm not sure what the I stands for, which is also probably that Shield question.
Okay.
Internet. That makes more sense. But I'll read you a plot synopsis. You can tell me what the movie is.
Intervention actually is what the I.
Yeah, let me do that. I'll try that.
All right. This one I ran by Jason, and I don't know if this is not a trick question, but it can't. Don't answer too fast, all right? A backup quarterback is chosen to lead a Texas football team to victory after the star quarterback is injured.
Oh, that's that one. I know what that movie is, but I have no idea. It's not Longest Yard. It's not. Well, Longest Yard. It happened. I think. No, it didn't in North Dallas 40.
No.
It's that.
Look, if you were to if you get this right, you would be playing with the main club in high school. If you get this right, you're not playing on a smaller squad.
If you get it wrong, you'll be pretty sad.
Yeah, you would be.
I'm going to be sad because I don't know any of those movies.
You've never made the top level team in high school?
Varsity Blues.
Oh, hey,
there
nice
it
job.
is.
Well done, T-Box.
Give me the answer.
See, and you weren't sad with the Blues.
You
and
guys
you were
are
varsity.
so nice.
Yeah, you know what? That's go ahead and mark that. It's first time, and I'll play that for my wife, so she'll be excited to hear somebody think that. T-Box, you're the man, sir. Appreciate it. We'll put you on hold. Get your information. I kid. She thinks I'm great. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue playing sports or leisure right after this. More Zone on this Thursday on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing to The Zone wherever you get your podcasts.
If you're looking for either your first or your best cannabis experience in Kansas City, all I got to do is tell you about Greenlight Dispensary. They got 4 KC area locations. You can check them all out online at greenlightdispensary.com. But they've been voted Missouri's best dispensary numerous times by the people of Missouri, and there's no question as to why. They've got great inventory and a huge variety. You can check out the menu online. Again, greenlightdispensary.com. But it is super easy, super convenient to order online and pick up via the drive-thru or the grab-and-go window. Or if you want to go in and ask some questions, they have the bud tenders there to answer all of your questions. I had to go in and ask questions that I felt like were dumb questions at the time. They made me realize there's no such thing as a dumb question. You're just trying to figure out what works for you. And I really trust the people. Really, every single bud tender I've talked to at a Greenlight has really helped out as I've tried to figure out what I'm looking for. So you can check out Greenlight's Goodies line if you want to go ahead and try their version of everyone's favorite treats, just infused. Plus, they have the Cord Chews gummies. You can pick your favorite flavor based on what you're looking for in terms of the effect there. Or you can go and check out the Underground at Greenlight's Independence location, not this weekend, but next weekend. We'll actually be out there on Friday. It's essentially a marijuana farmer's market highlighting some of Missouri's best. So you have all sorts of great options when it comes to Greenlight Dispensary. Check them out online at greenlightdispensary.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's...
All right, we'll continue radio on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Some sports or leisure on this Thursday, presented by Johnny's Tavern, 10 locations. Lawrence and Topeka. If you get sports question and a leisure question right, you win $25 to Johnny's Tavern. One more segment to play. Don't forget, coming up tonight, 6 o'clock on TBS, TNT, it is The Match with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. That is at 6 o'clock tonight. I'll be watching a little golf going on tonight. Josh, where are you at real quick? Because you'll be there till 2, but that's not when the sale ends. No, sir.
I'm in heaven because I also just got a taste,
You're in Iowa.
a chance to I'm not in Iowa, believe it or not.
Oh.
I just had a chance finally to taste the Z-Man pizza from Minsky's. They've got it out here.
Wow.
And
okay.
It's everything you ever could have wanted. The only thing it's really missing, I think, is incredible deals on some of Kansas City's best fashion. That's what is also going on here at Charlie Hustle's warehouse sale. We're at the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. Like you said, we're going to be here for a little bit. I'm definitely going to do my shopping after the show's over. So, if you stroll in at 2:15, I will most likely still be here. But they're open here till 6. It's an incredible sale. It's their biggest warehouse sale ever. 3 times more of their fan favorite gear than ever before, including $25 fleeces, $12 T-shirts, great deals on the youth sizes, really across the board. Deals you're not going to find anywhere else from Charlie Hustle, all with the same care and quality that you've come to expect from one of my favorite brands anywhere in the world, right here in Kansas City.
All right, so on the sports side, we've got stadiums, Major League Baseball, and NBA draft. On the leisure side, real quick, reset. We'll get to the phone lines.
We got the art category, dogs, Marvel, and what could IMDb.
All right, let's go to leading us off this segment. Waiting the longest is Doug. Welcome into the show, sports or leisure. I'll be your Doug. What do you want to start with?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, man. Sports or leisure for you?
All right, let's do leisure, and I'll try dogs.
All right, this one's serious, but I think you can get it if you're focused. In 1930, Charles Lindbergh worked with Lockheed Martin to design an airplane model named after what dog star? Put that in air quotes.
Air quotes. Lassie?
Not a dog movie star. Think much more literally here in terms of the.
Snoopy.
No, more literally in terms. I'm gonna read it one more time again and try to get the inflection right, just so you've got all of the necessary
I'll
information.
pick up on the cue.
This one's serious, but I think you can get it if you're focused. In 1930, Charles Lindbergh worked with Lockheed Martin to design an airplane model named after what dog of the stars?
Dog of the stars. Keep throwing the hints out there.
Just keep up with the hints. Come on.
Did you get the hint, Jason? There's one pretty.
Yeah, I got the hint.
Give me the heaviest hint.
I'm just gonna read it again instead. This one's serious, but I think you can get it if you're focused. In 1930, Charles Lindbergh worked for Lockheed Martin, designed an airplane model named after what star of the dogs? Dog of the stars.
Jeez. I have no idea.
This one, listen, I will tell you, this one's serious, but I think you can get it if you're focused.
That might be good hints, but I mean, I don't know that it's
Ursula Major. What are you?
Well, I mean,
what's the dog star? What is the dog star?
I mean,
I guess I'm asking you for the answer.
I love that.
I turned the table on this show. All right. Yeah.
The messed up part is that I've already given you the answer.
I know you have.
I mean, I've said it
Serious?
out loud. Yes.
Serious. Jesus.
Oh, I thought you wanted him to say Canis Major.
Yeah.
No, I was looking for.
I thought you were looking for like.
serious.
I thought you were looking like the Alpha Canis Majoris.
I was like trying to think Latin or something.
No, I really. That one was rude.
Wow. Yeah.
That
wow.
was hard.
You could have just said it goes by many different names. Give me one of them. Gosh, Josh, I'm about to write your questions for you. On the questions on the sports side, stadiums, MLB, or NBA draft?
Stadia, I guess.
Stadia for you, okay.
Yeah.
Which Big 12 school plays in the smallest capacity arena in basketball?
In basketball?
Which Big 12 basketball school plays in the smallest arena? So,
okay.
Current Big 12 school. Not any of the new ones coming in, so just the current Big 12 schools.
Existing ones.
Existing Big 12 schools. Oh, I'm sorry, not basketball. I apologize, football. I apologize, football, not basketball.
Oh, okay.
Football.
All right, football. So
My fault.
The Jayhawks.
Still not KU.
KU's only got like 50,000. All right.
And this one has less.
This one has even less.
One more guess. What do you say? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oklahoma State.
It was not Oklahoma State. Doug, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. Let's go to Scott. Been waiting a while. Scott, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's go with Leisure. The IMDb question, please.
Good.
Okay, was there one out there? No, there were on new ones. Okay. A family heads to an isolated hotel for the winter where a sinister presence influences the father into violence while his psychic son sees horrific forebodings from both past and future.
Ooh, The Shining.
The Shining is correct.
Oh, nice job. All right, on to the sports side. Stadiums, MLB, and NBA draft.
I'll stick with stadiums. Everybody else has been doing that one.
Do you want the one that's out there or a fresh one?
Fresh one, please. I have no idea the first one.
Okay, which Power 5 conference football team plays in the largest capacity stadium? Power 5
goodness.
football.
It's Michigan or Ohio State. One of those two, right? Let's go with Ohio State.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
No, Scott, no!
Oh, no.
Scott! No!
You know, sometimes the great ones fall just short. They make a comeback.
Oh,
It's about
man.
a comeback story.
I mean,
We've had some heartbreakers
one of those names is, big. Let's go to Shane next up on Sports Radio 810. Shane, sports or leisure? What side first?
Leisure, please.
What category?
IMDb.
Nice.
IMDb, please.
Okay. Controversy surrounds a high school basketball coach after he benches his entire team for breaking their academic contract with him. Intern Dre has filled out like half of these for me. Shout out to Dre.
Basketball coach. It was high school or college, or did you say?
High school. High school.
High school. High school basketball coach.
Yeah.
This entire.
The actual IMDb summary says high school basketball coach and then his name, but I will tell you that that would give away the title.
The
There's a free
coach
hint.
is the name of the title, though, right? The name of the movie is the coach?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, I can only think of a couple, so I guess I'm just going to have to guess. How about Coach Carter?
Hey, right? Isn't that right?
Yes, there
Okay,
you
cool.
go. That's correct.
That's
Absolutely.
what I said he was right before even knowing if that was the right answer. This is what I would have gone with. All right, Shane, on to the sports side, sir. We've got, unless that's right, did he win, or is that only one?
I like that stadium question that's out there.
Okay, yep.
The first one,
The Big 12 school or the Power 5 school?
the Big 12.
Which Big 12 school plays in the smallest capacity stadium? Football. Which Big 12 football plays in the smallest capacity stadium? Smaller than KU?
I think that's the one with the coolest mascot. I think it's at TCU.
Yeah, that's right. 45,000 there at TCU. Roughly 60,000 fewer than the other question that was out there. Shane, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations. Get your information. Well done, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Super duper.
Yes, love it. And then wrapping us up is Steven. Final contestant, Steven, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Leisure.
What category?
Leisure. Marvel.
Marvel.
Marvel. I got to scroll back up to. Do you want the shield question or a different one?
Different one.
What is the name of Thor's weapon that he helps create in Avengers Infinity War?
Stormbreaker.
Boom, Stormbreaker it is. Over to Jason with sports.
Sports side, stadiums, Major League Baseball or NBA draft?
Let's try NBA draft.
All right, NBA draft. Do you want one of the local schools in NBA draft specific or general?
Local school.
All right, KU, MU, or K-State?
KU.
All right, Bill Self has had 5 players drafted in the top 10 while at Kansas. Who was the first?
The first overall pick?
No, the first top 10 player that Bill Self had at Kansas.
It was...
I would say that if you get this wrong, it'd be an obvious foul, but that's just me.
It was Thomas Robinson.
Well done. Nice job. We'll put you on hold, Steven. Nice.
And that wasn't
I don't get that hint, Jason.
It was a foul. I know it was, Steven. Thank you, sir. Josh, where you at?
I'm out here at the Charlie Hustle Warehouse sale, the Abbott at 19th and Cherry. Unbelievable deals on Charlie Hustle merch. I'm going to go fill my arms with some after this show's over. They're open till 6.
Nice job. Everybody enjoy the rest of the day. The program with Todd Lebo and Curtis Seabolt comes up next. We're out of here. We'll talk to you tomorrow in about 20 hours or so.
Firework Mania Superstore is now open with a huge selection at the best prices. 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169. They have the coolest thing you'll ever see, Pyro Scan. Just scan the barcode and watch the fireworks before you buy them. Check them out online at firework-mania.com. The Firework Mania Superstore is the nicest fireworks store you've ever seen. Located just 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169.